of Akron, Ohio, representing Team Popping the Boys, the headline god, Jeremy Lambert, and his co-host, speaking out of Atlanta, Georgia, representing more than one royal family, the king of indie viewing, Stephen Jensen. And this is the Spotlight on Fightful.
Hello and welcome everyone to the Spotlight here on Fightful. Shout out to Big Dick MLJ for the intro as always, and shout out to Gisberto for the thumbnail. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That is Stephen Jensen. It is Thursday. It is 420. What is that? Oh my gosh!
Make them say, nah. Yeah, happy holidays, everyone. Today's a good day.
Happy holidays. Like it's Christmas or so. I guess it's Christmas for certain demographic out there.
Yeah, there you go. Hope today brings people together. And if you don't celebrate, I hope you just have a good Thursday. Today should be a good day, everyone. I'm hoping for a slow day at the shoot job. Tomorrow I've got GCW here in Atlanta. Sunday I've got Battle Slam here in Atlanta. So looking forward to a good weekend. Kind of kicking off the weekend a little bit. I took a half day off work tomorrow. So yeah, I'm looking forward to today and tomorrow, and I hope everyone's had a good morning. So I hope everyone's having a good day. So
what number are you at right now, Stephen Jensen?
About a 7-ish.
7-ish? It's 9:30 in the morning. You have work.
And my contact broke too the other day. So like I have to get new contacts tomorrow, man. Like first world problems in my life right now. So I apologize if y'all get some glare. These glasses I'm wearing, I only purchased literally because I'm pretty much blind, but I don't have my contacts in. So I didn't want to pay like the extra money to get like the anti-glare lenses because I only wear these pretty much right before I go to sleep, like so I can like watch TV and stuff. And so anyway, if y'all have a hard time seeing my eyes, it's because it's like the anti-glare. I don't have anti-glare on my glasses. This is so not anyway. Yeah, trickle into the show, y'all. Hope you'll enjoy this banter today as we get y'all going this Thursday morning.
Yes, but, the glasses are why you won't be able to see Stephen Jensen's eyes. No other reason that his eyes might be a little off for today.
No, man. Anyway, I'm glad that everyone's here joining us on the show today. And we had a lot of good stuff to talk about. I mean, we had a ton of stuff. And we have a great interview for y'all as well. The returning dad, Nathan Barnett, who recently won Creator Clash 2, undefeated boxer, who is also calling out the entire WWE and more specifically, calling out Seth Rollins as well. So, yeah, I saw in your tweet, he addresses his enemies. So we do a lot of that here on this show. So I hope y'all enjoy it. The dad interview, I think, is fantastic. We talked to him for like an hour this time. So, anyway.
He's great. Yes, he wanted to be known. He wasn't calling out he was calling out Seth Rollins, but the entire WWE, the building, the pavement, anybody and everybody associated with WWE, Dad is coming for you. Let's get into some of our topics. We're gonna start with
over 1 million fans and a great number in the demo tuned in. And it was a great show, and I think it's been a run of great shows.
A lot of faction wars last night on AEW Dynamite, and we will go with the Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite continuing their war. Elite come out and they're like, "Come out, let's fight, let's do this." Danielson appears on the screen, calls them a bunch of amateurs. Blackpool Combat Club attacks from behind. They're going to gouge Kenny Omega's eyes out. And Don Callis initially runs down, and then he's like, "Nope, this is a bad idea, smart man." Then he comes back out with Konosuke Takeshita, and Takeshita makes the save for the Elite. We know Callis has been recruiting him for a couple of months now. We finally got that kind of moving forward a little bit. Takeshita stood in front of Danielson, who he helped, mind you, in the MJF feud. Danielson and Takeshita was kind of lightly paired up a little bit during the MJF feud. He stood between Danielson and Omega, saved Omega, ran off Blackpool Combat Club. Omega seemed very confused. The Bucks were on social media, said they owe Takeshita some Sibon now. What do we think of Takeshita now being part of Elite Adjacent here in AEW, Jensen?
I like it. So I thank you for breaking all that down, by the way, because that's a really good kind of summary of how we got here with Takeshita and why it makes sense that Takeshita saved Omega, because I love that something that AEW does really, really well. It can be annoying sometimes and it can be like to their detriment sometimes, but in general, their long-term storytelling I really, really like, and I like that they stick to long-term storytelling. And I like that they plant seeds and Easter eggs like throughout things and don't like make it the primary obvious focus of things all the time, if that makes sense. So like for a while, we know that Don Callis was courting Takeshita. We know he was interested in working with him. We know Takeshita, we know that there were seeds planted for a while, but it was never like front and center, like in your face week after week. Like obviously this is where the story is going. We just kind of knew that the two of them were probably going to be working together at some point. And we also obviously know Don Callis' relationship with Kenny Omega. So it's one of those things where like, I'm glad that it's starting to pay off now. And I like how the Bucks reacted, because on TV, they reacted confused, but then on social media, they're like appreciative. So it's going to be an interesting story, I think. But also what's interesting is like, where does this kind of leave Hangman and things? Because Hangman was clearly the fourth member of the Elite in this thing against Blackpool. I mean, unless Blackpool gains another member, which I guess is possible, which we can speculate about here potentially. Maybe do they need a 5-on-5 situation? Is that what they're going for? And they added Takeshita on the Elite side. I don't know. It raises some questions, but I really, really enjoyed this. Like the crowd popped big time, and the thing with Takeshita that's really a testament to him is his AEW record like isn't good. Like he loses most of the times that he wrestles, but he's gotten himself really over to the point where the fans don't really care if he wins or loses, because like they know he has heart and fighting spirit and he has banger matches, and now he's got a storyline that matters. So I really liked everything about that whole segment last night in his save.
I'm glad they finally brought Takeshita back around into this, because Callis has been recruiting him for months, and it was a very, very slow burn to where it's like, okay, what's gonna happen here? And you mentioned some AEW storytelling. We'll get into this more when we talk about my spotlight, which is the Britt Baker Adam Cole segment. It's like sometimes they just do the same thing every single week and nothing actually progresses. And I don't know if that's just, okay, we're gonna slow burn it, or if it's just we don't really have anything idea right now that we want to hit on, so we'll just kind of keep doing the same thing until we finally get to the beat that we really want to hit with this. And I think it's kind of more of the latter than the former. Regardless, they finally hit the beat that they wanted to hit with two things last night. And the big one was Takeshita, or they're both big, but one of them was Takeshita, and finally bringing the pairing back around with Don Callis. So where does all of this stand right now? And so let's do a little bit of speculation with this stuff. There's Hangman Page, who you would think is going to be involved in this still somehow. I don't understand why they would drop him just out of things. So I imagine once his eye is no longer gouged out, he will come back around into this. There's now Takeshita, who's aligned with the Elite. Blackpool does seem like they need another member, because otherwise it's 5 against 4, and the heels probably should not be at the disadvantage here. That doesn't make a lot of sense. There's speculation of the Kota Ibushi part of this. I've seen theories of Takeshita ends up kind of turning on the Elite and goes with Blackpool, because again, he did not go after Danielson last night. He has a little link to Danielson through the MJF feud. He seems to have some respect for Danielson, despite Danielson wanting to maim a man with a screwdriver. So he seems to have a little bit of respect there. What do you think? Does Takeshita turn? Do we get somebody else? And then so Takeshita turns, and then Kota Ibushi comes in, joins the Elite. Or do we get somebody else on Blackpool and we just don't see Kota Ibushi, and that's just a lot of fan theory and speculation and hope and want?
Yeah, that's I think that's probably the most likely scenario would be Takeshita turning. If I'll say this, if Ibushi is coming into AEW, which at this point I pretty much expect, right? I feel like it's like not inevitable, but like I feel like it's probably a really, really good possibility that he winds up there soon. Seems like the stars have all just kind of aligned perfectly at this point. So if Ibushi's coming in, I would definitely have him align with the Elite, of course, Golden Lovers, Young Bucks, their history and everything, and then of course Hangman. That'd be the perfect team there. And I would definitely have Takeshita turn if that's the case. It's good. It's definitely good that you brought up him not Takeshita. That is not not attacking Danielson, because obviously there's like the mutual respect there, and Danielson. There's been enough seeds planted up to this point, and even last night when Takeshita saved Omega, you can kind of see behind him for like a split second. I was almost like, what if he also beats on Omega? There's kind of like this little feeling that I had about it for just a second where I was like, so I could definitely see that happening. I could definitely see Takeshita joining the Blackpool Combat Club, and then Ibushi comes in, and that's the 5-on-5. Because the other thing is, outside of them, I don't really think that, like, who else could really join Blackpool that would like make sense right now for this story? You know, like they're really good wrestlers on the AEW roster that I think would fit in to the Blackpool Combat Club, but like Daniel Garcia, for instance. But I feel like that kind of story is kind of came and gone, and like it wouldn't make sense right now. You know, someone like even like Eddie Kingston or something, like with the history he has with Mox and stuff like that. Like, you know, I'm like there are people that you could slot in there. I think that you could make sense with it, but I think the most sense would be what you said, where Takeshita would turn, Ibushi would come in, and that would be the 5-on-5.
If you're looking for just names who are kind of part of the roster, kind of fit the Blackpool Combat Club style, I know Danielson wrestled Timothy Thatcher, but Thatcher just kind of fits that bill. A guy like Tony Deppen, if you're looking for someone who is not, really big name out there, but the Blackpool Combat Club, one of the things, like, they like the young guys, and they want to like shape and build and mold things like that. Like, that was the whole point of Wheeler Yuta. So maybe someone like that who fits the bill. Chris Hero, just gonna throw him out there. I have no idea if he's interested in any type of wrestling at this point, but there's always gonna be that link to Claudio. Kingston like fits because of the mock stuff, but he just came off a big blood feud with
Claudio, of course.
Sure. With a hernia as well.
Yeah,
I don't know how active he's going to be. So that's where I don't quite know if he fits. Those are just spitballing a couple of names out there. I assume if they have Ibushi up their sleeve, then it will be Takeshita turns, joins Blackpool, and then Ibushi comes in. I don't think Ibushi is signing with AEW. I think it's more likely that he just kind of does. Ibushi likes to just kind of wander. He likes to be a freelance. That's why when he signed with New Japan, people were like kind of surprised, like, oh, he's actually like signing contract there. He likes to do the freelance stuff. I don't know if he's committed to like moving to America full time, especially when he said he wants to open up a training school in Japan. So I'm not getting my hopes up of like, oh, he's going to sign with AEW. I think it's more likely that he does just kind of a big angle. He has some matches, but then he also still wants to do like his independent stuff or wrestle just random matches in Japan and things like that. That's my thought of Ibushi.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like that's probably pretty likely. It'd be great if AEW could sign him, but it's I mean, it's exciting to know that he could hopefully be coming in soon. And I mean, we got to also keep in mind, although it was years ago already at this point, but everyone thought Ibushi was a lock for WWE when he was doing the Cruiserweight Classic. And even back then, it was like he didn't want to make the move, he didn't want to make the commitment. And from what I remember, like, it was pretty clear he was going to win that tournament, either him or Zack Sabre Jr. And then neither of those guys wound up like actually signing. And I remember that it all got like changed to like Metalik and TJP, or at least that's how it felt as like a fan watching it. But so yeah, Ibushi has always been one to just kind of like, I know you did the New Japan contract, like you said, that was surprising, but he's always been one to kind of just like do his own thing, be his own dude. Like he's a very unique individual. You know, I artistic guy. You know, it's one of those things where like I hope he winds up. I hope he does what he wants to do, but as a fan, I want to see him more, like, while we can, because he also takes like big breaks from wrestling and stuff, like, and he's super talented. And we've been talking about wanting to see Ibushi on like mainstream American wrestling for, I mean, you know, I can't remember the first time I saw Ibushi, but it had to have been, I mean, at least 10 years ago. I mean, it's wild, you know. So it's just one of those things where like, hopefully they can make that happen. But yeah, I think that's the most likely scenario. What do y'all think in the chat? I think Takeshita, the more that I think about it, the more we talk about it, I think it just makes the most sense that Takeshita would turn. And there's another layer there too, because of like how long Don Callis was trying to like align with him, that like it will cut even deeper. It isn't, maybe the whole thing with Don Callis was so that the turn would matter, you know, like when you really think about it. You know, because otherwise Takeshita is just like a good wrestler, but he doesn't have really any link to the guys for any reason, you know. So I think it was done. I mean, I like the angle.
I thought it was really well done last night, and we will see just kind of how it plays out. I guess whoever gives Takeshita the most Cinnabon is probably gonna win his love and desire. Whoever can pay for the most. Who do you think has more money between Blackpool and the Elite? Who could pony up the most Cinnabon between them?
That's a good question.
Danielson's got a lot of WWE money.
That was my first. Yeah, that was my first thing I was gonna say. Is gonna be Danielson. Danielson's got this WWE. Well, so does Mox.
Mox has got yeah.
The
one you know part there is you know Yuta's the low man there. He's by far got the least of these guys here. Claudio Cesaro's got a lot of WWE money as well. I imagine Hangman or not. Well, you could throw in Hangman there if you want. Omega and the Bucks got some good AEW money, but that was some good New Japan money, not WWE money.
It's tough. It's tough because I don't know how relative. This is so weird to speculate on. I've just never even thought about it, but I wonder if it's more relative that it's like what maybe like what Claudio's tier was with like the WWE was maybe relative to what like Kenny's New Japan was maybe. Like, I don't know how like close like those numbers would be because like Danielson's WWE I would and even Mox because. The thing with Mox that we got to keep in mind, he was brought in as a member of the Shield, and there was always plans for those three guys to be three main eventers for a really long time. So Moxley probably had a really good deal. But like Danielson, we know had to have had a good deal. He was like their top guy for a while. So like,
I don't think it's close now that we think about it.
Yeah, it's got to be Blackpool. It's got to be Blackpool. Yeah.
And look, if it comes down to it, and Blackpool is like going to lose the Cinnabon war for Takeshita, Danielson just going to Brie Garcia, Brie Bella, and be like, hey, like $5 extra to make sure we can get that extra cinnamon roll in there to make sure we acquire the services of Takeshita. You know, Brie's got that. Renee's got it too. So, you know, Omega in the Bucks, they don't have the spousal support either. Yeah, it's not close. Blackpool is going to wash them in the Cinnabon war.
Cinnabon
for 3, 5, 20 lifetimes for Takeshita. It goes to Blackpool.
That'd be a great heel thing for him to do, though, is just be like hanging out with Blackpool Combat Club in the back, like in like the locker room, and he just got like his feet kicked up eating Cinnabon. Like, yeah, like that would be. A heel Takeshita would be interesting.
What a vibe that would be for Blackpool. All these hardened guys who just like to be in the gym and professionals and everything. And here's just Takeshita just like having his Cinnabon, just chilling out with everything.
Yeah. Or maybe he makes his opponents eat them. Like Takeshita beats down his opponents and shoves a Cinnabon in their mouth.
Oh, that's not bad. I don't mind that. I like that. Like you got to taste the joy of Cinnabon like the rest of us.
You're going to get fat. You eat it for me. Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. Like he's in Blackpool, and they make him just train so much. Like he's got to cut Cinnabon out of his diet, and so he's got to shove it into everybody else's mouth, and then that's why he beats them up even more. It was like, no, you're disgusting for eating the Cinnabon, and he's just like he's going after them because he can't do it. It's a very psychological thing. He might need therapy or something like that. Honestly,
yeah, this is a really good storyline.
One of the other big happenings on AEW last night is we got a big confrontation between Chris Jericho and Adam Cole, where Adam Cole called him a jagoff. You know what a jagoff is, Stephen Jensen?
I remember jagoffosaurs from South Park back in the day. They're like, ha, 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 ha. Yeah, that was it. I remember they made some annoying noise. That was it. Yeah. Yeah, they were like these big like platypus duck looking things that would like walk. Yeah, but anyway, no, I that's all I could think about when he said jagoff. I just thought jagoffosaur, but is that like a common burn in Pittsburgh? I'm guessing.
I don't know. It's a Pittsburgh thing. Just
calling
it
sounded
people
like
jagoffs.
I guess. I mean, obviously, jack off is like pretty common, but like jagoff is very.
Do we
specific.
need to learn the origin of a jagoff here, or jagoff origin? Yeah, it's a very big Pittsburgh thing. I have no idea. I'm not from Pittsburgh. I don't live too far from it, but
Britsburg.
It's a Scots-Irish word, jag, which means thorn or to be pricked. But the word also has a deep history in Chicago. So, maybe he's taking shots at a famous Phil from Chicago in reference to Jericho, because Danielson was kind of making Chicago Phil references when he's talking about Omega and the Elite and being amateurs. But Omega has the potential, and I see more in you. These other empty-headed dumb fucks, they're useless and not worth my time. They are amateurs. You actually could be somebody, Kenny Omega. A lot of references, a lot of veiled references on AEW last night. Anyway, Adam Cole calls him a jagoff, and then they get into a big brouhaha. Daniel Garcia comes out and attacks Cole. I was waiting for Keith Lee's music to hit. Keith Lee's music did not hit for the save. Instead, Britt Baker comes out. Britt is like, get the hell off my man. What are we doing? Stop this. And Britt gets attacked from behind by the Outcast, Ruby, Saraya, and Tony. They lay her out. They beat her down. Adam Cole gets handcuffed to the ropes. They get a kendo stick, and instead of hitting Adam Cole, they hit Britt. And Cole is, yelling, screaming to stop. He's apologizing to Britt for all of this. I joked on Twitter, like, why is no one saving Adam Cole? Everyone tells me how nice this man is. Oh, nicest guy in the world, Adam Cole. Nobody's there for Adam Cole? What are we doing? But I actually love this segment. I thought this was a fantastic heat segment, because I expected the whole just, here's the music hit, beat down, save. They did this like 3 times last week. They did it earlier in the night with Ricky and everything. Like, I thought that it was just going to be the whole beat down, music save angle that they run into the ground at this point. And said they did a real heat segment in Pittsburgh, in front of Britt's hometown, in front of Britt's family, in front of Cole's family and everything. I thought this was a home run segment especially for this feud, especially for the Outcast and Originals feud, which has been it's been a lot of beat down music save angles on this. So I thought it was a home run segment. What about you?
Yeah, no, I totally agree about everything you just said. Like, I was expecting Keith Lee to come out for the save. I was expecting just like anyone to come out for the save at a certain point. Especially with how you mentioned Adam Cole and how everyone loves him so much and everything. Such a great dude. I mean, it was smart to do this in Pittsburgh, obviously, with it being Britt's hometown, and Adam Cole's mom was in the front row. I mean, like, that was good heat. It was done really well. The only thing that I was waiting on, and actually it's brought up here, Ballot for Film. Thank you very much for the comment here, because I agree with this. He said, excuse me. He says, I feel like the segment would have been better if Jericho had attacked Britt, but they probably couldn't do that out of fear of people freaking out.
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, it's pretty. I don't know. We see a lot of quote unquote intergender wrestling and stuff at this point. I don't think it's like that out of pocket for like Jericho to like hit Britt with a Judas effect or something. You know what I mean? Like I was kind of expecting that to happen, honestly, because that's like massive heat on Jericho to hit Britt in her hometown. It'd be, especially if she was like looking at Adam Cole. She's like, you know, not even looking at Jericho. If he like hit her in the back of the head with one or something, is super cowardly. But yeah, no, I was kind of waiting on that also, if I'm being completely honest. I thought Jericho was going to go like really over the top and take it too far in that way. But regardless, it was smart how they did it, getting the Outcast involved, having Saraya be the one to do the what was it, a kendo stick? What did
Kendo
she
stick.
Use?
Yes.
Yeah, kendo stick. But yeah, so I mean, I thought it was a really well done segment as well, and it adds a lot of heat to Jericho versus Adam Cole. Which is a match I'm already looking forward to. Jericho, in my opinion, is the GOAT, and Adam Cole is one of the best current day wrestlers, in my opinion. So, you know, this is all really good stuff. And they you know, AEW, I feel like, I could be wrong, but AEW doesn't do a whole lot of this like hometown beatdown type stuff. WWE is notorious for it, especially with guys like Jim Ross and stuff, like historically. But I feel like this was good and kind of different for AEW, where didn't like Britt got her celebration at the beginning of the show when she wrestled.
Yeah, she got her.
But
yeah,
but they still like they got the heat, you know, at the end there with Jericho and her and Cole and everything. So I thought it was really well done.
A couple things. Anime Otaku asking where was Jamie. So they had the match earlier in the night. It was a very brief cut. But like Jamie Hayter was getting help to the back by an official, and Britt was there. It was on the side, again, very brief. Like I was actually when I was watching, I was like, oh, I hope Jamie is okay, because I saw her, the way she was getting help to the back, it didn't look great. So she was selling that. I don't recall if it was like mentioned on commentary. If it wasn't, they probably should have hit that a little bit more, that hey, Jamie Hayter's in the back, she's being attended to by medical, that's why she is not out there. You know, why didn't anybody else come out and save? Wrestling. I had a conversation with Ryan from Mark Order on Twitter of like, somebody should have the gimmick of they just like save everybody in this spot. Like that's just baby. Even if they get beat down in every single segment, of just like they come out and they just make the babyface save for everyone. And someone pointed out like, yeah, Kofi Kingston did that, and everyone called him stupid and a loser. It's like, well, you know what? Kofi Kingston's had a job for a decade. He's one of the most decorated champions in WWE, and now he's part of the one of the best stables ever, and made 2 lifetime friends because just being nice. So just be nice. Go out there and make the save. They might call you stupid. Why do you keep saving these people and you get beat down every single time? Make friends. Be nice to everybody. Look at the long-term value that paid off for Kofi Kingston. We need to run this angle whenever we take hold of a federation here.
Yeah, dude, I absolutely love the idea of a gimmick like that. I'm not gonna lie, like someone who makes a save for baby faces no matter what, and occasionally just gets his ass kicked for the attempt, but like never
he
stops.
He can get his ass kicked all the time,
every single time.
Yeah.
That's even better gimmick. Oh my god, someone who unsuccessfully makes the save every time, like comes out, gets their ass kicked. Occasionally creates a diversion where the other guy can get away. Like the guy who was getting attacked initially gets away, and like they're okay now, and this other guy's left for dead every time. Oh no. But
you can even do this as a heel origin story of like he keeps doing this all the time, and then the babyface is never like thankful for it. Of like, look, you came out, whatever, that was your decision to go. Like no babyface is ever thankful, and then finally this guy just freaking snaps on everybody. And just just attacks everyone. I don't know who could pull this off. Like it's got to start as Action Andretti should do this. He ain't doing anything else right now. Action Andretti should be this big hero who saves everybody and just gets beat down, and then no one is receptive or thankful to him. It's like, yeah, you're just kind of whatever, Action Andretti. And then he finally snaps and he's like, remember when I beat Chris Jericho? Like I have this win that very few people in AEW have, that I try to be nice, I try to save everybody. It didn't do anything for me. Then he can align with Chris Jericho. I've actually done something with Action Andretti, unlike AEW TK. Action Andretti's now in like ROH, just teaming with Darius Martin.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, that's actually an incredible story. So I'm down. When we started booking, when whenever Jameson needs a little break off booking Championship District Wrestling, we can go ahead and slot in there and try to book
He
some of
was
these
on.
angles.
Well, you see our guy Jameson Ryan on Dark.
I did. I did. When did that air already?
Yeah. It aired on Tuesday. He was Flex Luger, Pose Malone. He's back there with the Iron Savages.
All right. Well, we'll have another interview for y'all with Jameson soon. I talked to him. I actually talked to him the night or the day after he wrestled that match. I DM with him, but I didn't know when it was gonna air. But he's in good shape. Obviously he was coming off of an injury and everything, and he's in a good spot now. He's with like Bear Country, right? I think they're like doing like
Iron Savages.
Iron Savages. They're doing a trio type of thing now. It looks like with him, or he's at least being a part of that group. So yeah, good for our boy Jameson. So yeah, and by the way, well, actually we'll talk about Jameson more whenever we catch up with him. But yeah, this is a good it's a good idea. And then you can do some real long-term storytelling. Guy turns heel, and then he starts unsuccessfully attacking people after their matches. So he tries to heel, and he starts attacking people, and like they just wind up beating him up for the attacks. Anyway.
Shad Sounds First says, saw people mix on this, but I really liked it. Made Jericho look like an evil SOB. The only thing I would have added is a bit of color for Britt. I get that too. I understand like you wanting and other people wanting to see like Jericho like hit Britt, even if it was with the kendo stick. I think it would have added a little bit. It didn't have to be like a punch or a forearm or Judas effect or anything. Just like give her one shot with the kendo stick. That could have added something. And yeah, if Britt got a little bit of color, that could have added something. But I still liked how it was done, because sometimes they do go over the top with the color. And I understand, okay, let's not have a male hit a female, and that again, a forearm, a punch might have been like, ooh, I don't know about that type of thing. A kendo stick, a little bit different, but Jericho still just looks like an asshole out of all this for just like setting it up and aligning with the Outcast and like doing all of this. I guess he figured Britt was going to make the save because the Outcasts were just under the ring. So they could have just been chilling out under the ring for no reason if Britt never came out, and the plan wouldn't have worked. Jericho knew the power of love and that Britt Baker would come down to save her man. So Jericho's ahead, man. He's playing chess. He's like Arn Anderson playing chess. Everybody else is playing checkers.
Yes, absolutely. Arn Anderson, speaking of.
Dial left for film is beefing with you. So I have a bone to pick.
This is a good dude. This is an OG live round viewer of myself and Doug. So I appreciate him being in here. What's
with this idea that the Undertaker sucked for most of his career? He's an undisputed legend.
I never said he sucked for most of his career. What I said was Sting was always better than the Undertaker. There's a big difference between those two statements. There's a big difference. So I saw a tweet from, I think it was from NoDQ.com. And they said something. What's that?
NoDQ.com.
Yeah. There's something. They said something like, is Sting now finally reaching the point where he's almost as good, like as goated as the Undertaker? Is like pretty much the question. And I was like, all I said was Sting's always been better than the Undertaker. And I honestly believe that. There were some people that like try to get me to like respond as to why. And I don't like doing that on Twitter because luckily for me, I have a platform like this where I can actually talk and you can actually hear me like actually explain these kind of things. On Twitter, it's tough because you have the limited characters. You never get the right tone. And I never want to sound condescending or like I'm fighting with people on Twitter because I never am. I'll say this right now. I will never fight with anyone on Twitter. It's not worth my time. If I'm ever responding to you about anything, I'm doing it in good faith. So with something like this, it was more so I've always been more entertained by Sting, even going all the way back to Sting's colorful face paint, the quote unquote surfer Sting, although we never have any proof that Sting ever surfed, that's a whole other controversy in itself. But Sting, in his whole career, I think the Crow gimmick, like his 1997, that whole storyline heading into the match with Hogan, I think that 1 year is better. I'm not saying like that 1 year is collectively better than the whole Undertaker's career. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like I don't think there's been 1 year of the Undertaker's career that was better than that year that Sting had, even just year to year comparison. Like, and I just think Sting's been over for like 40 years, So it's one of those things where I understand there are going to be people who are going to be more on the Undertaker's side. They're just bigger. And also keep in mind, I was a bigger WCW fan than WWF fan. So like there's a lot of I'm an OG Sting fan, have been. He's one of the first wrestlers I ever saw wrestle. And he's so that's how I feel. It was more of a comparison of I think Sting is better than the Undertaker if I'm just comparing them 1v1. But I'm not saying that the Undertaker sucked.
You are completely right in your opinion here. Why are people mad at you for this, Stephen Jensen? That's what I want to know.
There are a lot of people. Yeah, there are a lot of people that. There you go. There it is. I got a signed Sting Ninja Turtle right here behind me.
Why are people mad about this? You're correct. Sting's way better than the Undertaker.
See, I think a lot of people would feel like that.
The Undertaker had great matches against Shawn Michaels, and that's his legacy. The Undertaker was awful for the first however many years. The American Badass stuff finally with you're fine, Della, for film.
Yeah, he said he was kidding, by the way. So yeah, no, I know that. I'm actually glad you brought that question up though, so I could clarify that, because I did have people come at me over that whole thing, and I was like,
clarify anything. The people who are mad at you are just wrong. Sorry that they're wrong. Sting is better than the Undertaker. He won't be looked back quite as fondly by a lot of fans because he didn't have this big WWE run, and WWE was just treated him like nonsense against Triple H at WrestleMania, which was a joke. While the Undertaker is put on this like giant pedestal as a legend, a great gimmick for the Undertaker, not disputing any of that, but Sting, he's a more diverse performer than the Undertaker too. Him switching from Surfer Sting to Crow Sting to Joker Sting to Legend Sting, like just way, way better than the Undertaker doing his thing.
Yeah.
Way better. Had a better match with Goldberg as well.
Yeah.
He's better.
And you also mentioned I may have retweeted something about the Undertaker being good for 5 years of his career. I can't remember what the context was in that tweet, but it might have been something where it was like comparing the overall. And sometimes, by the way, I retweet stuff by just people I like. I don't always necessarily like completely agree either. Like, just I want to put that out there too. There's plenty of stuff that like I just feel like the message needs to get out there more, but I don't necessarily agree with it, if that makes sense. So like I think it may have been a tweet that was more along the lines. It could be wrong, but I think it might, like collectively, like if you look at the Undertaker's career, because so much of it towards the end was like one match a year or just a few matches a year. For WrestleMania and stuff like that. And I know Sting's career was like sporadic too, but I think if you like collectively take all of Sting's matches, all of his career, WCW, TNA, WWE, AEW, and take all of that, I think collectively you'd probably get more great matches total. Like, the Undertaker, because even the Undertaker's WrestleMania matches, like some of them were incredible, but some of them were terrible. Like, I mean, it's just, and, when you're having one match a year or whatever, this is what it is. So Sting's never disappointed me. Let me put it that way. Sting still kills it to this day. He goes out there and he has matches that I'm talking about, the next night or whatever. So anyway, I appreciate the feedback though. And I do, trust me, there were some people that were really mad about it. I know he isn't mad in the chat, but there were people that were. So yeah. Anyways,
people. Anton says, going through a tough time, appreciate spotlight distraction from life for a while. Always wanted Undertaker versus Sting, WWF versus WCW style match. Anton, I hope things turn around for you, man. Sorry to hear that you're going through a rough time. We appreciate you. We appreciate the support. I would see you on the same person. I see you on Twitter and being supportive and stuff. So we appreciate that, man. Again, hopefully things turn around. Yeah, I think Undertaker Sting was a big dream match for a lot of people. I don't understand why WWE never did it. Unfortunately, the Undertaker was going to win and they were probably going to botch it anyway. So maybe it's a good thing that they didn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's always going to be just a giant, it was right there in front of them. The only thing I didn't like about that match was I always assumed Undertaker would win because it would happen in the WWE. But it was really frustrating that they went with the Sting versus Triple H feud instead. They had the Sting Undertaker match right there for WrestleMania.
Sting and Triple H was fine, like as a feud, especially with Sting's entrance at Survivor Series and Triple H being authority and stuff like that. I didn't have an issue with. The issue was the booking was dumb because they just tried to turn it. Here's a Monday Night Wars rehash, and then Sting lost. It was just, it was stupid. If Sting would have won that and then lost to the Undertaker, like fine, I understand that perspective. But once he lost to Triple H, it's like, well, they see this guy how they see him, and that's just kind of bad.
The only cool thing about that was like when DX and NWO, like I actually marked out for that when both of those teams like went at it, although it happened like decades too late. But it was anyway, yeah, we can move on. But yeah, appreciate that, Antoine. I wanted that match too. Maybe we'll see it in AEW one day. Who knows?
I need to finish the story. In the WWE, the story never finishes.
I like how you can hear Triple H like banging the table there. He's so emphatic that the story never finishes. Maybe we will get Sting and Undertaker one day because the story never finishes. Stephen Jensen. Big news out of the WWE world this past week as Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp reported that WWE and Twitch came to an agreement. Superstars will now be allowed to stream on Twitch again, and it seems like they're getting whatever you're going to get off of Twitch, and WWE, their cut is coming from the Twitch side, and it said that talent is happy about this deal, and so we'll start seeing more WWE people on Twitch. What are your thoughts, Jensen?
Did it say anywhere how long this deal is for? How long they can do? It's like indefinite. They're just allowed to do it.
I assume so until I don't think there was any hard agreement there.
Okay.
But yeah, I would assume it's like, however long they're going to do it, and then they go from there.
So it's interesting. I mean, we talked about this with Dad in our interview a little bit. Y'all are here later on in the show. But, I mean, obviously I like the concept because when you think about it, like, even think about this with Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho works for AEW. He obviously is contracted to AEW talent, and AEW's contracts definitely, work differently than WWE's do. But they should be the same in the sense of when you leave work, you should be able to really do whatever you want when you've done what when you're contractually obligated to. And someone like Chris Jericho should be allowed to go, do Fozzy in his spare time and stuff. Like these people should be able to go off and do their own things and have their own lives and pursue their own interests and stuff outside of their profession when they're not expected to be on company time. And so it's one of those things where like it was always weird that they want. The only thing that I ever understood about WWE's position on them not wanting their performers on Twitch or making like quote unquote internet money independently is like I get if they're using their WWE names, why the WWE would want a piece of that. Because they feel like the reason that person's name is as valued as it is because they've put them on their platform and made it that valuable. I understand that. But it was also never such a large amount of money that WWE should have like the money they were making from Twitch wasn't competing with the money they were making in WWE, if that makes sense. It was like two totally separate things. And these are people that are gaming or just hanging out or just interacting with fans. At the end of the day, it's honestly just really good publicity and really advertising for the WWE to a different audience or to their own audience. You're either going to get a bunch of people in those Twitch chats that are already fans of you, like, because they just want to know you better or have a chance to interact with you or donate to your stream so you see their messages so they can feel like, you get to know your favorite wrestlers and stuff like that. You get to influence what they do on the stream. Someone like Speedball Mike, well, I don't know, this is WWE, but someone like Speedball Mike Bailey has gotten obviously very popular because of his wrestling, but even more so because he'll go on Twitch and you could recommend matches or wrestlers for him to watch and stuff like that. And it's like really interactive. And that's why I think it's so valuable to have something like that because you're interacting with your fan base. But on top of that, the thing that makes Twitch really unique, which is different than like YouTube or really any other Instagram, really any other platform you can consume live video. The Twitch communities, it's different than anywhere else because most places like YouTube, there's not really a community aspect to that. you kind of just like click which videos you want. You might be kind of fed like recommended videos, but on Twitch, like if like I'll use like big Twitch names, for instance, like XQC is probably like one of the biggest Twitch streamers. Kai also, like Kai just got banned, but like so like XQC, like there'll be a bunch of people watching him, and then like he'll go offline, and like those viewers might go over to like Asmongold or whoever. Like what, like they're going from like streamer to streamer. Like they don't like leave Twitch. So like they're like there all day, all night. Those are the Twitch fans, and they're just going from like streamer to streamer to streamer to streamer when people go on and offline. So it's like more of a community thing. And the reason I bring all this up, why I think it's so important, is because a lot of that community has no interest in professional wrestling. And if you can get them interested, that's a whole like untapped fan base right there of like really, really, really loyal viewers. Like if you can get some really loyal Twitch viewers to bring their communities over to these WWE performers, and now you get to know them better and you become fans of them. Now you're watching the show more and you're buying the merchandise. You're getting Peacock and all this stuff now, because now you know that these people exist. You might not even known about them before, or whatever. But you're a big gamer, and now they're in your world. So, I think it's really smart. It's also really interesting, like the timing of this, because right now Twitch is at its absolute worst, like as a company. So, like that's going to be interesting. There's a company called Kick, which I actually saw Andre bring up in the chat. They're actually giving 95% of their earnings to their streamers, from what I understand, not just 90, Andre. So from what I understand, Kick is giving away 95% of their money to their streamers. They're not taking any sub revenue. This is a whole rabbit hole conversation that we'll get to for people that want to hear me go into. But Twitch takes 50% of the streamers pay, from what I understand, for the give or take. So it's just one of those things where Twitch is like the McDonald's of the streaming industry. It makes the most sense that WWE would want to associate with them. They're the most reliable, the most well established, and they still have the majority of the streaming viewership by far. But there are alternatives that are coming around right now that pay streamers a lot better. So that's going to be interesting potentially if, let's say, who's a WWE wrestler who will have like a really big Twitch channel?
Woods, Austin Creed.
Woods is a good example. If Woods gets in a position where he's getting a ton of viewers on Twitch, and he's getting 50% of that taken from Twitch, and then another percentage of it taken from the WWE off of.
Well, no. So WWE's taking part of the Twitch side by all they're saying. They're not taking any part of the talent side.
But the Twitch side has to be off the talent, right? Because like the talent, because Twitch is still paying. So like Twitch, the money the streamer would get would be like, what do you mean by Twitch by the Twitch side? Like
apparently, like, okay, so you said Twitch takes 50% and then the other 50% goes to the streamer. WWE is getting part of the Twitch 50%, not part of the talent 50%. Right.
Okay. So I guess kind of what I'm trying to explain is like, but over on a platform like Kick, like the streamer will get 95% of that.
Right.
Not 50. So it just, but I see what you're saying though. Like they're off, but I guess my point, my overall point is this. I think it's an overall good thing that like they're getting to do this on Twitch, but it's interesting that the timing is now because so many big Twitch streamers are leaving Twitch because of problems with the platform and because they're not paying out what they should be based on what other platforms are willing to pay them out. So, so it's interesting timing, but I'm happy for them, and I think some of them are going to do really, really well on the platform.
I think whoever's going to be on the platform will do really well. Joel Pearl and I had a big conversation about this yesterday on In the Weeds, and basically my kind of overall thoughts on it are that I would imagine there's some restrictions of like, hey, don't say certain things out there. I think one of the big restriction is that, clear any like guests from another company that might be on there, which is just basic like media and PR. You got to clear the guest doing an interview on a show before you just show up on that kind of stuff. And Twitch was big during the pandemic era because nobody had any place to go. We were all inside and just like, yeah, let me jump on and just play video games. I love this. And now with everybody traveling and all of that again, like I don't know how many wrestlers are going to be on it and using it the way they were during the pandemic. So So I think you won't see as many people like be as prominent on that stuff. Andre mentioned Zelina and AJ Styles. I know Zelina just returned to Twitch not too long ago. AJ was actually doing like Mixer for a little bit. He kind of like went away from Twitch and got on Mixer. I don't know if that's still like a big platform.
That shut down.
Okay.
That was a whole other thing. That was owned by Microsoft, and they wound up signing Ninja and Shroud, who were two really big streamers, and they wound up getting Ninja made about $30 million in his payout, and Shroud made about $10 million in his payout. They wound up having to do about a year of a 3-year contract, and went and signed with Twitch anyways afterward. Like, they got the biggest W's in gaming history. But no, Mixer doesn't exist anymore. The difference between Mixer and like Kick though is Kick is basically backed by Stake.com, who is like the big gambling company that just has unlimited money. So that's why it's interesting, is like they can afford to pay these streamers this amount of money. So it's anyways, that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, no, there are going to be some WWE wrestlers that I think are going to do really well on Twitch. There's also going to be plenty that are going to realize it's not for them, that, like they're not going to probably do a whole lot, or like you said, during the pandemic, it's a lot easier when people don't have anything else to do. But anyway, yeah, I think it's good though. I'm glad that the wrestlers are having more freedom to do more stuff that they want to do outside of their contracted WWE, hours or whatever.
Yeah, and especially if WWE's not taking a talent portion of the cut either. Like you said, they're only getting 50% of whatever they're getting anyway, because Twitch takes so much. It would be lame if WWE was like, okay, you're only getting 50%. We're going to take another 10 of that. And then you're only getting 40% of whatever you're making off of Twitch. And then it's like, okay, is this even like a fruitful venture for us to, we are only making $40 for every $100 that we get off of this. Like, maybe it still would be for some people, but you got to build a community. You've got to like be active on it. You got to be consistent on it. And with travel, with a lot of these guys having other ventures and stuff now, I don't know how much time some of these people are going to commit. Certainly the people who were more active during the pandemic probably just aren't going to be as active nowadays. And that's going to show up very quickly of like, hey, you're just kind of doing this, trying to look for maybe a couple bucks here and there, where somebody like Woods who will actually sit down, build a community, and go from there. I think it's a good thing because it will help people discover WWE, and whether or not they tune in WWE, I don't know. But if it helps people discover somebody like Xavier Woods, and then he gets merchandise off of that, like, great. I'm all for that. I'm all for whatever is beneficial to the talent at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, WWE wrestlers, get on Twitch, do more stuff independently if you're able to. That's good stuff. I'll give a non-WWE wrestler a Twitch plug right now here on the show. And I'm only doing this because I know this guy has been putting in a ton of hours on it. It's like every time I don't see him wrestling, I see he's on Twitch. Shout out to Ratty Daddy Forever on Twitch. Cole Radrick. He's been putting in a ton of Twitch hours. So I want to give him, if y'all are on Twitch, go give him a follow. But yeah, anyways, there's more, it would suck if like me and you had a job with Fightful, right? And like, just because we talk about wrestling, we weren't allowed to ever talk about wrestling anywhere else when we weren't doing it here. That'd be weird, So like, I'm glad that they're able to do more.
Yeah. That might be part of my new deal, is I can't do shows elsewhere and talk about wrestling elsewhere. So I don't know.
Doesn't Sean? I'm about to say, like, Sean talks about wrestling other places all the time. Like,
I got to read the fine print. I don't know I got to read the fine print on this. You know how wrestling contracts work. You're just like, yeah, I'll sign this. And then you find out you're in a ultimate deletion match next thing you know.
But it's one of those things where it's like, I would, if someone asked me to be on their wrestling show to talk about wrestling at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time on a Thursday, like, obviously I wouldn't do it because my responsibility is this. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel like it should work. What am I responsible for in your company? Let me know. Awesome. I will always be there. You can always rely on me. I have all this other free time to do whatever I want. Like, that's how life should work. Like, the WWE shouldn't have a stranglehold on you playing video games in front of your audience when you're not getting beat up across the country, across the world, all the rest of the year.
Especially if you're classified as an independent contractor.
Right. Exactly.
look, NBA players are on Twitch and stuff. That's the big joke is what Kyler Murray. Oh, when the new Call of Duty drops, like look at Kyler Murray's stats after the latest Call of Duty update. Because
that dude's playing in the locker room at halftime. Like he brings his Xbox apparently or PlayStation or whatever, and like that's then there's teammate, but it's becoming that actually is becoming a problem I think for some players.
Yeah,
like they're prioritizing gaming over. But hey, that's a whole other thing. And but once again, that's on that's their prerogative. If you want to be like, I want to say like Juju Smith-Schuster is a good example because I know I don't know if he streams anymore. But I know he used to a lot, and it's like, dude, if you ever wanted to quit the NFL, like you just like the money you make streaming, there's nothing wrong with that. Paige Van Zandt quit the UFC because she was making more money on Instagram posts. Like I respect that. Like if you want to do something that doesn't involve getting beat up all the time and you can chill playing video games or taking pictures or whatever, like I consider that a W, you know? If that's what you want to do and that's what makes you happy. Like, so anyway, yeah, I think we're all on the same page here. It's good to see the talent just kind of get more freedom to do. Do you know if they're allowed to use their real, like AJ Styles can be AJ Styles. They don't have to be like Alan Jones or whatever.
Right. I'm not sure what if that's part of it. I know a lot of the wrestlers, again, Woods being an example, was already using like the Austin Creed branding for Twitch anyway. Zelina was already using like the Thea Trinidad branding. So I think most of them are probably just going to like stick with that branding. It probably, look, if WWE has like an agreement with Twitch, which it seems that they do, it'd probably be good if it's like, yeah, use our wrestling branded names here because that helps Twitch. Somebody in our chat, I think it's Andre says, yeah, Twitch needs WWE talents right now. Like that, if Twitch is down bad, like that helps Twitch. It's like, hey, you can find not Austin Creed, you could find Xavier Woods on our platform, and that's going to draw more than Austin Creed. Even though Creed's done a great job building the brand, people know Xavier Woods more than Austin Creed. So I think maybe we will start seeing them use their actual WWE names instead of using their real names when they go on Twitch. Well, that'll be very evident very quickly of what name that people are using.
And some will choose to probably use their own names if they're able to, because I'll never forget like Cardona and Myers. Those two guys are what was their WWE names? I can't even remember. It was Zack Ryder. And
Kurt Hawkins.
Kurt Hawkins, jeez. I couldn't remember the WWE. But even when they were in the WWE, they started using their real names and like their YouTube channel and stuff, pretty much as a just in case. Like if we need to stand on our own, people will know who we are outside of the WWE. And also it's worth mentioning, Twitch has been successful for wrestling in the past. You know, a lot of indie companies broadcast off Twitch. Impact Wrestling, I'd argue that the most interest in Impact Wrestling has had in the company in the last few years was when they were running weekly on Twitch. I honestly believe that. There was people like myself and Joel and a lot of other fans that were doing like live watch parties and stuff. And it seemed like there was a lot of buzz for Impact around that time. And I thought it was that was a big L, in my opinion, was when they switched over platforms over to YouTube and stuff. Like that's kind of, I could talk about Twitch and the platform wars and all this stuff for hours, but we'd be too out of topic and not get to the rest of our stuff. So,
my WWE Spotlight, Jensen, is Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny's going to be back on Raw next week to address Damian Priest. He's going to be hosting Backlash in Puerto Rico. He's probably going to be wrestling at Backlash. That's not official, but it seems like they're setting all of that up. I really want to spotlight this because Bad Bunny, just bless this man of one of the biggest, if not the biggest, like musical artist in the world based on like streaming and interest and all this stuff. I know a lot of who's this guy? Like, look, the numbers don't lie when it comes to Bad Bunny. There's a ton of interest in this man. And
not just that, like he's like the multilingual, bicultural, like he's like worldwide, like so like people from all different like backgrounds and languages can like understand his music, and you know what I mean? Like he's worldwide. It's not just like US or like local, like worldwide megastar.
Yeah, like a full-on megastar, not just like some, no offense to your guy Logan Paul, but not just like some social media influencer type person who is popular on YouTube, anything like that. Like this man is a legit megastar across the world, and he's like, you know what? Put all that stuff on hold. I got to take this table bump from Damian Priest. He is out there putting his body on the line, like potentially messing up a concert if he gets hurt or anything like that, just because he loves this business. I respect the hell out of Bad Bunny for this whole thing. He could easily just do like, you want me to host this event? Sure. I'll host it. I'll show up for one night, do the hosting thing, get a nice paycheck, move on. Like, nope. I'm going to show up to Mania. I'm going to be on the Raw after Mania. I'm going to take the table bump. I'm going to be on Raw next week. I'm just going to be here. And we saw when he was the 24/7 champion and stuff. This man just loves, he had the 24/7 title, like the Grammys, I think. Like, the man just loves professional wrestling. And I find that just so endearing that he is this big superstar. And he's like, yeah, but you know what? If I got the opportunity to just be on Raw, like, this is what I want to do. Now in my free time, it's like, I will just like cancel some plans and do this stuff. You know, this man can do whatever he wants on a random Monday night. Said he wants to show up to Raw. He could be anywhere else in the world right now, but he's here with him. I appreciate that. H to the Izzo, B to the Eze. I don't, B to the
Make
UN.
us say, oh.
Bless Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
Take notes, Dwayne. Posting Instagram videos of like, can't wait for WrestleMania. Gonna be a great match between Roman Reigns and Cody. Love the NXT show. That man didn't watch NXT on Saturday. Are you kidding me? Posting this video after night one of WrestleMania. Night one had ended, and this man's acting like it hadn't happened yet. Dwayne can't even show up saying he loves wrestling. Wrestling gave him everything he wanted and needed. $7. Where would he be if there wasn't wrestling? When he had $7 in his pocket and he can't show up to acknowledge his tribal chief. Meanwhile, Bad Bunny taking table bumps. Write this down, Dwayne. Don't forget where you came from. They say the money should have changed him. It changed him. It changed Dwayne.
Yeah.
He forgot where he came from.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I agree with you about the Bad Bunny stuff big time. Just the fact that he doesn't have to do any of this, but he loves it so much that he wants to not just be involved, but he wants to do like a really good job. It was evident when he had that WrestleMania match and he hit that Canadian Destroyer on Morrison on the outside. It was like, damn, he really put some work into. I mean, obviously Morrison, it's a lot on Morrison to make that move look good. I obviously get that, but for Bad Bunny to even take like the initiative to be like, because like you said, he could have just, WWE would probably be thrilled if he just sent a video package to them. Just any association they can get with Bad Bunny, the rub they can get from him, they will gladly accept and pay a lot of money for, I'm sure. But this guy wants to not just be a part of it or just be a host, like you said. He wants to get in the ring and actually be involved. I saw a video of his, I don't know what the guy's name is. I'm really bad with a lot of, it's funny because I can talk about like the basement dwelling internet culture stuff about like Twitch streaming wars, but I can't tell you who like these mainstream like people are that everyone would know. There's like that show where like a dude will like drive someone around in a car or a van and like the celebrities in the front seat and it's like
James Corden.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. He looks kind of like Gordon Ramsay, kind of like a bigger Gordon Ramsay. I think I saw him on that or like a clip of that, and Bad Bunny the guy was asking him like his like number one biggest accomplishment in his life, I think is what he was asking him or something along those lines. And Bad Bunny said wrestling for the WWE was his favorite thing he's ever done. And I think that the host thought he was kidding. And I don't know if there might be a laugh track or something on the show. I remember hearing like laughs or something, and Bad Bunny was dead serious. Like he wasn't smiling. He didn't just mood didn't change. He was like, she's like, no, like WWE is the greatest thing of all time. It's bigger than any of my concerts. It's bigger than any, like WWE is my favorite thing that I've ever done. And he was dead serious. And I was like, dude, good on you, man. Like for not like making a joke of it or whatever. He's like, no, seriously. Like it's cool to have the biggest star in the world that just is such a massive fan of this and is willing to speak so highly of it. Like that's awesome. Speaking of my guy, Logan Paul, as you said, go ahead and everyone look. I've already pre-ordered my Logan Paul Ultimate Edition figure. I did that last year. Don't you worry. The resale value on those already for the pre-order. Go ahead and look, y'all. That's going to be one of the most valuable action figures ever. Like, oh man. Anyways, yeah. So Bad Bunny's got to get his own figure soon. He's already in the video game. His Mattel figure would be sick. So yeah, Bad Bunny, congratulations on winning in life, dude. megastar, killing it in music, gets to be involved in WWE, doing a really good job on WWE. We should probably have Issa like record a message for us or something to air on the show that explains like the massiveness of Bad Bunny for like her and her life. Because every time I see anything Issa's doing on Demon Diva, for y'all who might not know, every time I see her on social media or anything with her cute little dog Roman, who I love so much, they're always listening to Bad Bunny. She's always talking about Bad Bunny. So I know he's like this giant cultural figure. So
Shy's Spurs, I want to make sure I get to the super chat. Speaking of that audio clip, what do you guys think of every WWE legend coming out defending that Mania finish? It was like damage control, good spelling to me. Yeah, Dustin Rhodes was like, oh, I like it. Steve Austin was like, oh, I like it. Everyone's just saying, I don't like the argument of, well, if Cody wins, where do they go from there? You got 500 writers for this stuff. You could do the same story for this stuff. It's a dumb thing of like, where do you go if Cody wins? You go higher because you have a top white meat baby face at the top of the company. That's where you go.
Yeah,
there.
You haven't beat heels in title defenses.
Yeah, like it's dumb to be like, where do you go if Cody wins? I think that's almost a disingenuous argument. It does feel, I don't know if it's damage control. I don't think Dustin Rhodes is being told to, like, Dustin Rhodes is gonna feel like give his opinion on this stuff. Like, I don't know why he would just be like, yeah, I loved it. Cody lost. It's great for his adversity. It's great for his story. Did
you see what his sister Teal tweeted about that the other day?
Yeah.
She basically said, I wish I could pull the tweet up, but she said something like, because there was like this narrative that Cody wanted to lose the match because of the story. Yeah.
Like, no, Cody hates losing. Like, Cody beat her in like Uno or something, or she beat Cody in like Uno and didn't talk to her for like 3 months is what she said.
Cody, exactly. Like, Cody's not he doesn't want to lose. Especially the biggest match of his life, main event of WrestleMania, big return from the rival promotion that he founded. Dude, there's a lot of egg on the face of Cody Rhodes that he does not want on his face. He even talked about this before the WrestleMania match itself in interviews. He was saying,
right next to him.
Yeah, there's a rubber chicken. He was saying before the match even happened, he was like, I could wind up looking really stupid if this doesn't go my way, based on where I left and what I accomplished and me coming back to do this. So, yeah, we'll talk about that more. I kind of purposely didn't choose a Cody Rhodes topic this week because it's just more extension of the Brock Lesnar feud. There isn't a whole lot more to talk about from last week to this week. But trust me, we will continue to talk about Cody Rhodes when we need to. But yeah, he didn't want to lose that match, or there was no. I don't like the narrative of what do you do with him if he wins the title. If you can't figure that out, you've completely lost your way as a company and in your creative process and your writing. If you can't write a story for the most over good guy you have in your company as the world champion, that's insane.
It's very dumb.
Our product is what it is. We're going straight up the middle.
New champions crowned at Impact Rebellion. Both titles were vacated going into the event. And then Josh Alexander had an injury. Mickie James had an injury. So we had Steve Maclin winning the Impact World title, defeating Takeshita. And we had Deonna Purrazzo winning the Knockouts Championship, defeating Jordan Grace. Jensen, your thoughts on the power couple now in Impact with Maclin and Purrazzo winning the gold?
I like it a lot. I thought the show was really good, by the way. If you want a full review of Impact's pay-per-view, go check out the post show right here on this website, right here on this YouTube channel. Myself, Crest the Star, and Joel Pearl had a review right here on Fightful right after the show. So if you want like really deep dive thoughts on all of this, that'd be the best place to go. But I thought Rebellion was a really good show, and Impact was just put in a really, really obviously a uniquely strange, unfortunate scenario where both of their world champions got injured between the last pay-per-view and this pay-per-view. So they had to kind of call two giant audibles. Steve Maclin, I don't know if he was going to be the guy to beat Alexander or not. I don't know. What I can guarantee is they were going to have a great match because both guys have not missed in Impact Wrestling. Both great talents. But it's possible Maclin was going to win anyways. It's possible. They've done a really good job of building him as a credible contender. On the knockout side, I think that they're making like lemonade out of lemons kind of with this, because the way that it's worked out, I have to imagine the plan wasn't to go back to Deonna. right now with the title because Mickie had just won, the last rodeo recently and stuff, and she was on her way with a good title run and defending over Masha. But the way that things worked out, it was like, well, Maclin kind of makes the most sense to be the world champion. Deonna's already obviously an incredible talent herself, a former Knockouts champion. She's always going to be credible and like ready to grab that title whenever they need her to and be a great champion for them. So this kind of almost fell into their laps of like, Maclin makes the most sense for the world title. Deonna makes sense for the Knockouts title. Now we have an opportunity to do this whole other story with them as a couple being the champion. So I think it's worked out really well. I like Deonna with the Knockouts title again. I'm a huge Jordynne Grace fan as well. I like both those women a lot. I talk about both of them a ton. The rumor, from what I understand, is Jordynne might not be with Impact much longer, or she's weighing her options right now. I will say, it's worth mentioning, she did re-sign last time that this happened. Everyone was sure she was going to leave, and she wound up staying. And I think Moose did the same thing right around the same time, if I remember correctly. So just throwing that stuff out there. But yeah, I thought both matches were really, really good. Great co-main and main event for Rebellion, and probably the two best choices you can make right now, given the stories you can do with both of them as champions, their in-ring work, both of them being credible, and so I think it makes sense, and it's probably the best case scenario I think for Impact right now, in my opinion.
I think Maclin may have been on track to defeat Alexander for the title. It would have been big heat in Canada, especially.
Sure.
So I think he may have been on that track anyway, before Alexander had to relinquish, and then Maclin ended up defeating Takeshita. Kind of a happy accident that Mickie. I don't know if Mickie and Deonna was an original plan for Rebellion, because Mickie and Jordynne was supposed to happen at Sacrifice. I assume maybe Mickie was going to win that, and then I don't know who Mickie was going to face at Rebellion. The fact that Deonna got this spot based on the multiverse match, maybe it was going to be Mickie and Deonna, and maybe this was an original plan all along of Maclin and Deonna were going to end Rebellion with the titles, no matter what, and they just got there a different way due to injuries.
Sure.
Yeah, I like it. It's a good choice. I think Maclin's done great work his entire Impact run, like just showing a completely different side of himself. Such a great heel. So I love that he's the champion. Deonna's one of the best. So very happy for her. I don't know how we're going to see, or if we're going to see them interact too much on television. Joel and I interviewed Deonna on Monday, and she said we're not allowed to mention each other on TV. So that's an Impact call. And right now, Deonna's kind of like a baby face as well. Maclin, obviously, a heel. So I don't know how much we're going to see with that. Maclin, it looks like he's setting up to face Aldis. You think Deonna's going to face Mickie when she comes back. So it seems like there would be some synergy there. But according to Deonna, I don't know if I'd get your hopes up about that just yet, if that's what your fantasy booking. But that's where things stand with that. But good call on Deonna and Maclin. It's two good champions right there. My other spotlight, Jensen, is David Finlay leading Bullet Club now. He's already recruited Clark Connors into the new Bullet Club. I really love the addition of Clark Connors. I think he's been an underrated guy in New Japan. He talks about he wanted to win the TV title and do try to do more with that. Of course, they went with Zack Sabre Jr., who rules, so I'm not super mad at that or anything. But you got Finlay leading his version of Bullet Club that's in the New Japan realm. You got Jay White still leading Bullet Club Gold now, that's in the AEW realm. They talk about Bullet Club stuff on WWE. AJ Styles is out right now, but they still make references and throw Too Sweet and things like that. Bullet Club just all over the world. But what are your thoughts specifically on David Finlay being the New Japan representative, following in the lines of Balor, Styles, Omega, Jay White, and now David Finlay? And
kind of Cody kind of was that guy for a second with the Omega thing. I just want to say it needs to be brought up because the Bullet Club is Fine story, I think, was some of the best storytelling in wrestling in the last 10 years. And the story was, who is the Bullet Club's leader? Is it Cody or is it Kenny still? I love that story. But anyways, as far as this current version of the Bullet Club, I'll be transparent. I don't watch a ton of weekly or even monthly New Japan. I pop in and out depending on kind of what's going on. I watch the big shows, and I feel like I probably echo a lot of the sentiments of most of the fan base. David Finlay seems pretty underwhelming in comparison to the other people we just mentioned. You know, I got nothing against Clark Connors, great in-ring wrestler. Like the US version of Bullet Club is basically Clark Connors, Ace Austin, and Chris Bay. And I like all three of those guys. I'm a huge Chris Bay and Ace Austin fan. By the way, I like seeing their match on Rebellion, X Division, Ultimate X. I like the finish of that was really smart. How they, those guys are great. I always talk about those guys. But as far as like the Japanese or the Japan version of the current Bullet Club, it's I got the list here. I think it's Bad Luck Fale, Chase Owens, Dave Finlay, Dick Togo, Evil, Gato, Kenta, Sho, Ishimori, and Yujiro Takahashi. That's not that I mean, like Kenta's a badass. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much it for me. Like I liked some of the other talent in the group, but that's not when I think Bullet Club. I'm thinking like the Young Bucks, AJ Styles, the Good Brothers, Tama Tonga,
kicking El Phantasmo out was certainly a choice,
right?
Because he was pretty over in the Bullet Club realm, especially his team with Ishimori and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't. It just seems underwhelming. I'll say this: like I don't want to write off David Finlay because I don't think he's like a bad performer or anything like that. He has big shoes to fit in, and it's even stranger when the guy that they booted out of the group is now basically bringing the gold version to AEW, and like that's going to be way bigger than whatever they're doing in New Japan because way more people are watching AEW. So yeah, it kind of seems like that's the real ball.
Yeah, that's where it's an uphill battle for Finlay. Is like it seemed pretty obvious. Jay White, they did all of that because he was probably gonna head to WWE and then didn't head to WWE. It's like, okay, well now he's in AEW, but he's lost these loser leaves New Japan matches. So, but we still kind of want him at Bullet Club adjacent because that's where it's an uphill battle for Finlay. Is Jay White is still around in a Bullet Club world of AEW and that multiverse, and Jay White is still doing that kind of stuff with Juice Robinson. So Finlay's got to get over that. And the group that they have right now, not the best in the world. It's a battle for Finlay. I'm willing to give it some time. I do like the addition of Clark Connors. I just think it's a good spot for him of doing something and elevate him a little bit from the team that he was having with DKC. So I think it's a good spot for him. I wouldn't be shocked if they try to get somebody else in that spot of Finlay, but they should give him a little bit of time, see what happens. But battling against Jay White in that in that same realm, gonna be tough.
Very reminiscent of NWO and NWO Japan. Like remember, it got to a certain point eventually, or even NWO B team. They actually called themselves as NWO Elite and then NWO B team, but it was like, okay, so we have Bullet Club Gold, Bullet Club Finlay. It's kind of like that's kind of feels the same way, if I'm being honest. Hey, shout out, by the way, to Brogan Finlay, who's David's brother, who's still only like 19 or 20 years old or something. He's going to be like one of the biggest stars in wrestling. So if David can like get his brother involved somehow in this at some point, that'd be great for Brogan because Brogan's going to be massive. Anyways.
Caden says GCW tomorrow. Going to be fun.
Yeah, I'll see Caden there at GCW. We've been talking in the DMs, so I'm looking forward to seeing you, Caden.
Can you throw gum at him? Be a good spot.
No.
Why not?
Be chilling.
No.
Chilling.
We give a big motherfucking shout out.
Indie Spotlight, Stephen Jensen. My Indie Spotlight is Violence is Forever defending the DPW Deadlock Pro Wrestling Tag Team titles in a Jersey Street fight against Marcus Mathers and Matt Tremont. This was on DPW Live 2 over the weekend. If you have not checked out DPW, I encourage everybody to do so. They're doing some really great stuff. Violence is Forever had a match against the Workhorsemen not too long ago in DPW. And then after the match, they cut a big promo of they bleed orange for DPW. And look, Violence is Forever, one of the best independent, maybe the best independent tag teams out there. Their match against Tremont and Mathers, especially being a street fight, which is very much a world of Matt Tremont. They get to show off a little bit of a different side of themselves because they are also just a very good cut and dry tag team who could just work a normal tag team match. But the match was really good. I love DPW. I encourage everybody to check it out.
Yeah, for sure. And everyone who knows me knows I'm a longtime supporter of Violence is Forever, Kevin Koo and Dominic Garrini, two guys that mean a lot to me as a wrestling fan. Kevin Koo, I interviewed Koo probably 5-6 years ago in my old apartment in Nashville, like when they were starting up Subgraph, Southern Underground Pro, years ago and stuff like that. And like to see Koo's evolution and him forming this team with Garrini, because Garrini was another guy like I knew of and knew from that company. And Garrini was actually the world champion or the Bone Storm champion for SUP. And then like once they aligned, it became Violent. Originally, I've actually still got their old t-shirt. They were called Sad Comp first. And then they eventually became Violence is Forever. I've got an old Sad Comp t-shirt in my room somewhere, but those guys are super talented. Both super talented singles wrestlers as well. Both very accomplished singles. Q, as a matter of fact, had a singles match this past weekend with Brian Keith, which was really great. Both those guys rule. But yeah, I mean, they've been singles champions all over the place. They've held so much tag team gold. I've been saying it for a while. Like, I really feel like it's inevitable that they wind up in Ring of Honor or something to where they're going. It's they're at a point where they've accomplished like everything they're going to accomplish. I feel like on the indie scene, and they can keep accomplishing more if they want to. But they're at a point now where it's like, because they were with MLW for a little while. Like they've been signed. They've had a lot of eyes on them. I know that they're on FTR's radar. That's a dream match that I've wanted to see for a long time. So I think we're at a point very soon where Violence is Forever is going to finally like really break out in the mainstream. And I'm definitely here for it because I know both guys have absolutely worked their asses off, not just in the ring and in front of like the fans, but behind the scenes. Both Garrini and Koo have done a ton for the wrestlers also, and as promoters and as trainers and stuff like that. So I want nothing but success for Koo and Garrini.
I think this should be an ROH sooner, at least ROH sooner rather than later.
Agreed.
I hope that for them. Jensen, your indie spotlight is James Russo trying to get Craig Mitchell kicked out of Freelance Wrestling. It a big angle with Shane Mercer on the last show. Shane Mercer just beating the name.
Sort of Incredible Iverson.
Yes, sort of Incredible Iverson. I know it was Iverson something. I was about to say White Iverson, which is a Post Malone song.
When I started balling, I was young.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So you beat sort of incredible Iverson, and then Craig Mitchell came out and they had a big pull apart brawl. Tell us about this angle a little bit, because I watched it. I saw it. I like the pull apart brawl done everywhere, but it's not done. I don't feel like so much on the independent scene, but you have more background on this entire angle.
So basically, I know I got to lock in for the shoot job here in a second. So I'll be quick with my explanation here. Well, as far as the story goes, basically what's happened here is James Russo has essentially hired Shane Mercer to take Craig Mitchell out of Freelance. Craig Mitchell is one of the faces of Freelance Wrestling. He's probably the first person I think of when I think of that company. He's been involved with that promotion for years and years now, and he's suffered some big injuries and come back. And he's a guy that similar to Koo and Garrini, another guy I got to see live a lot years ago. And me and him have a funny history because when I met him, he actually, the footage is on IWTV if you want to find it. I'm not going to like tell you exactly where to find it. You can search for it. But there's footage of him knocking a beer out of my hand. I was like way too drunk at a show once. And he knocked a beer out of my hand. And he felt so bad about it afterwards that he bought me another beer and gave me a free t-shirt. Because like he knew like he had just ruined my whole beer. So Craig's a good dude. And I've had the chance to interview him since and stuff. So the reason I wanted to spotlight this is because the big time feud, in my opinion, for Freelance, they put on a really good show. They're a really good company. They have a lot of great talent. They put on really good matches. They're consistently on IWTV. Like they got a really good product. But I think this is something that people should have eyes on, because if you don't know about Shane Mercer, just watch pretty much any GCW show and watch. He's a physical freak. And he goes viral often by whether things go good or bad. He'll toss somebody across the arena, and he does crazy. His finishing move, the moonsault and battery itself is incredible every time. A backflip off the second rope while doing a fallaway slam and stuff. I mean, just just an absolute freak. And Craig Mitchell is just a badass performer who, if it wasn't for like the stops and starts with his injuries, and the other thing that people don't know about Craig Mitchell, I'll pull the curtain back a little bit more. A lot of this, so Craig Mitchell is good friends with Ali, Mustafa Ali, and he a lot of stuff that got Ali really over years ago, like those vignettes where he would be like in the streets, like being kind of like a vigilante, like helping people out, being like the good guy out there in like the Chicago streets and stuff like that. Craig Mitchell filmed a lot of those videos, and then eventually like WWE was producing them, but a lot of that was Craig Mitchell like behind the camera. Like he has a really great eye and vision, and he's told me before that sometimes he doesn't even want the spot he gets in pro wrestling because he feels like it's taking away from someone who wants it even more, because he loves so much like the behind the scenes stuff and the filming and the pictures so he's just a guy who's just like really creative, and he's helped a lot of people on the way. So a match between Shane Mercer and Craig Mitchell is going to be badass. I like that they're putting a feud behind it, and I'm a big fan of both guys, and that's the reason I wanted to spotlight it. I think it's going to be a really good match once it happens. They wrestled each other before, but there's going to be a lot more stakes, in this next one.
A lot more heat behind it with an actual feud. I love when independent promotions actually run angles and stuff too. I think nowadays, a lot of times when it comes to indie promotions, just like dream match, cool match, banger match type of thing, and put some actual angles behind this stuff. So give me a reason to want to tune in to this. And I know like promotions do it, it just doesn't get the highlights of, hey, Commander did this cool thing, here's this cool spot that we can gift spot, things like that. Like the angle does not get that kind of love that all the gifts and just cool high spots get. So I'm glad you chose this, because yes, it should be a very good match, and there's actual story behind it, which I do think is being lost on the independent scene.
Exactly. So I got to go clock in for the shoot job. Hope y'all enjoy the rest of your holiday, or just a regular Thursday, whatever you want to call this. Happy Thursday. This weekend, once again, I will be live at GCW tomorrow night at Center Stage in Atlanta, Georgia. I'll be live at Battle Slam here in Atlanta on Sunday night. I plan on doing the Fightful Select Weekender podcast on Monday, so it'll probably come out Monday afternoon. I'm actually taking that day off work to go. I'm going to record the Weekender, go see the Mario movie, and hit Dave & Buster's. Got a whole. But 4/24 is going to be a good day for me. So, please check that out. That's FightfulSelect.com, and enjoy this interview with Dad. I'm sure Jeremy will prop it up a little bit more here before it airs. But y'all enjoy your weekends. Thanks for hanging out in the chat. Good seeing you, Jeremy, and happy day. Have a good day today.
Bye, buddy. Enjoy the rest of your day more than you've already enjoyed your morning. Jensen's going to be on about a 17 in about 12 hours, less than 12 hours from now. All right, let's get to it. We got a big interview with Dad. He's been on the show plenty of times before. This is his third appearance now on the show. He was on previously, almost like a year ago. He was on Father's Day, our Father's Day episode last year, and then he was on earlier this year when talking Creator Clash when John Morrison was also part of the show. And then Creator Clash is over. It was this past weekend. Dad scored another knockout victory over AB Skrilla, knocked him out. John Morrison also victorious over Harley of Epic Mealtime. So big victories for people who have appeared on the spotlight. I feel like that should say something. Appear on the spotlight, get some dubs out there. So, but the big news kind of coming out with Dad on the Creator Clash was he got on the mic and he was like, WWE, you've taken everything I've worked for. I'm going to fight your motherfucking ass. That's an ATS promo. No, he did call out WWE. He called out the entire company, said Vince McMahon, Triple H, you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. I've had 2 contracts with the company. He told Seth Rollins, you're fighting all these scrubs like Logan Paul who don't win boxing matches. I'm out here knocking fools out. Logan Paul ain't won a damn thing. And made big headlines off of that. He also cornered John Morrison. Also part of that cornering team was Karrion Kross, Scarlett, LA Knight. Jim Duggan was there as well. So a lot of wrestling influence on Creator Clash. We dive into all of that with Dad, talk about those call outs, talk about Creator Clash, talk about a bunch of different things. Very fun interview. So here we go for the third time. It is Dad, aka Nathan Barnett.
Welcome to the creator portion of the Spotlight here on the Spotlight. I, of course, am Stephen Jensen. as always, with Jeremy Lambert. And our guest today is a returning guest. He's someone you know. He is Dad Bot, aka Dad, aka Nathan Barnett. He is also an undefeated boxer who you may have seen win once again at Creator Clash 2 over Star Killa, aka AB. Dad, thanks for joining the show again. How you doing, man?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for having me. Honor as usual. I'm pumped. I'm feeling great. Second victory, another round 1 TKO. Dad can't be stopped.
Yes. Now, before we even get into the fight, I want to jump right into this because you know this is Fightful.com. We are a professional wrestling website. You made a lot of noise, not only in the ring that night with your fists against AB, but right afterwards, you make the massive call out. You call out the WWE. We know your boys with John Morrison, aka Johnny Spotlight. He was right here on the show before. We know your relationship and kind of your past. Can you refresh some of the fans who may not know kind of your history with the WWE? Because you called out the whole company, and then you more specifically called out one Seth freaking Rollins.
Yes, and it's interesting because a lot of people were like, "Oh, he called out like the roster." I wasn't calling out the entire roster of WWE. I was calling out the company itself entirely, the building and all their buildings, because I feel, and I don't ever want to be presumptuous and demanding, and I'm not cocky. I'm sometimes maybe too like, oh, well, unassuming and trying to like, not be that annoying guy. But like, dang, man, I feel I do deserve a tryout over there. It's been 2 times. I have contracts that have been sent to me. I had a plane set up to fly me out. Things get canceled. Employees get, fired. Positions get moved. It's the bane of my existence. It's what keeps happening to me. And I feel I'm made to do this. I'm good at this. Characters are my thing. Acting is my thing. I'm on television all the time. I've sold television shows to all the comedy networks. And I'm like, this is what I do. I've been doing this forever. And I'm a stuntman, a self-taught gymnast, a boxer. I'm knocking people in the ring. Like, what I've done my whole life is wrestling all together. And like, I've done wrestling. Rikishi trained me. I've been in there. So I often feel like, oh, I don't want to be bothering people and I don't want to be demanding things. But I was backstage at Creator Clash 2 with Scarlett, Karrion Kross, LA Knight, and they're all telling me, do what you're doing. Say what you said in the ring. They sent Seth Rollins what I said to him, so he's seen it himself. I know, he can do only what he's told to do. But they're like, what you're doing is right. Don't give up. Be that guy. Keep pushing. And it kind of gave me a good motivation. But yes, sorry, this was a little bit of a long rant. To catch up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, to catch up with people who don't know who I am, I do characters, I do stunts, I do physical comedy. I'm kind of like a Jim Carrey of the internet. I've had some TV stuff here and there. And I love wrestling, always love wrestling. And my characters have gone into wrestling. I had a big feud with Dolph Ziggler. That was a mostly digital thing on YouTube. Vince McMahon himself has tweeted my videos. I tried out for Tough Enough in character. And I think people thought it was a joke, but it wasn't a joke. I genuinely wanted to try out, and I was trying to. It was the most viewed thing they've had in any of their Tough Enough seasons, auditions. Like I kill it often on the internet as Keith. Just on America's Got Talent as Keith, fooled Simon Cowell, thought I was a real person. Vince said himself, he goes, I love this guy. We got to get him on Raw. That's the exact quote from a WWE employee who told me he sat there and watched my video with Vince McMahon. Triple H knows who I am. I don't know how Triple H feels about me. I know how things are working now over there now. I want everyone to like me and hopefully see how I could work. In my opinion, I feel everything I've done, I'm made to be in the WWE. I'm a huge fan of WWE. I'm emotionally connected to WWE. I love pro wrestling in general. I would work for anybody, but I have this thing where I just really want to work for them because I like them the most. I love them. This woman who was in my life, that was the love of my life. She passed away recently. She and I bonded heavily over WWE. And my best moments of my life were at WrestleMania in Florida with her, at NXT shows, at seeing them at Raw and SmackDown Live. Like, I need to do this. I belong there. I want to do it. I would be good at it. And I just want the tryout. That's all I want is a tryout. So just please, I'm begging for it. So yes, at the Creator Clash, I called out Seth Rollins. I figured I got 20,000 people in this arena in front of me. I'm taking this moment to segue into where I belong. And then 20 minutes later, I'm walking out with LA Knight to support John against Harley. I was like, this is it, dude. I'm on my way. So and now I'm here talking to you guys, the legends of all this, the ones that tell everyone what's going on. And it's really weird for me to even be here talking to you about this because I feel like maybe I'm manifesting it. And, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I will do whatever it takes. I will kill myself. I'll kill my mind. I will do.
Don't do that.
I'll kill my. Meaning, I'll kill myself in the gym and grind and work and I'll do what I have to do to get there, and I won't stop ever.
Yeah, and we appreciate it, man. And you putting us over like that, we really appreciate getting our ego stroked a little bit. Being your go-to guys here in the pro wrestling world.
That's where I find out everything that's going on. So, I'm probably overthinking things, but like I know people would be like, "Oh, who are you? You're nobody." Like, I haven't done the indies, obviously. Like, if I was just to pursue wrestling, I should do the indies. But I feel the past 20 years I've been doing another thing. I've been honing my craft as an actor and a physical comedian, a stuntman, a gymnast, and I'm an entertainer. If Logan Paul's in there, I feel I at least deserve it more than him. I'll say that. So I'm the guy that really actually wants to be there. And Rikishi has trained me. I've done training. I've done some GCW stuff with John. So it's like, I do feel like I would like to go and be trained by WWE instead of work in the indies. I'll take what I've learned in my career, in my path, and apply it to what I would then be taught, at the performance center. So, yeah.
When we had to
rant.
No, for sure. We had to talk to you today. Well, I'm glad we were able to talk to you today, because when I messaged you initially, I think it was like right after your fight, I just sent you a DM and I was like, dude, congratulations. Like, that was awesome. And then like, I don't think you'd even made the call out yet. And then like you call out Seth Rollins and I'm watching this. I'm like, oh man, he's like, this is a pro wrestling move he's making here. So then when you got back to me, I think it was the next day, you were like, oh, yeah, you just said like, I appreciate it or whatever. And I was like, it clicked in my head. And I was like, dude, if you're free, we can talk about this call out right now. Like, let's talk about what people, while people are buzzing. So
for sure,
this is great. I hope that the people over there see this. I hope that the word spreads even more, because I want to see Dad involved in the WWE, and I want to see a response from Seth Rollins. I really do. So
I would love to see the response. I know like Ziggler and Austin Creed and Bray Wyatt is a big fan of mine. He and I, it's not public. No one has seen our interactions, but Bray and I, he's a fan of the Dad character. I'm obviously a fan of his. So we've talked. I found that out when he shared a GIF of me one time last year as Dad. Dad's doing this thing. He's giving thumbs up, but it's in an episode of the Dad series. Dad's saying, I'm going to be the best YouTuber in the universe, but it's actually me it's sign language for help. So it's a little secret thing. And Bray, Bray and I do are very similar, like with the cryptic Dad stuff and the secrets. So we've become fans of each other and friends. And so like all these people, like, I'm like already there. I'm just not employed, So I'm like, come on, dude, like this has to happen. So Seth Rollins, if he appreciates the joke, I would, I'd be honored, but I know he can't really do anything himself. But if they allow him to do something, it would change my life. I mean, I'm ready to go the long route and go behind the scenes and work for them and train for them, do whatever they want me to do and clean the freaking toilets. Like legitimately, I will do whatever it takes, because it would be an honor to do that. So if it works out, it'd be amazing. But I called him out because my thinking was, WWE, it's a little bit of like a jab as a fan because they hire Logan Paul, a guy who's a huge YouTuber. He's got big numbers. That's why he's there. The world feels a certain way about him. That's why he's there. I'm not that guy. I'm the guy that has never really fully made it like that. It's just, I'm the guy people go, oh yeah, him. I've seen him around. So I don't really have a draw for them. So I'm thinking, I'm going to just address the reality that I'm living in. You're going to get Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul, the guy who can't win a YouTube boxing match. He hasn't won. He had a draw and he's lost all the other times. He gets to wrestle. Seth Rollins is calling out every spot for him. You can hear it. Like, dude, how about get the guy that will work his butt off, actually can wrestle, has been trained with WWE Hall of Famers, and will work. I know this to Logan. He does a good job, but like, I just feel it's unjust in the universe. Like, if he can do it, I should be able to do it. And I will, as soon as I get there that first night, I know I can make people remember me. I've been doing it out in all these other worlds outside of WWE. So please, WWE, let me do it for you. I'll make you richer. And now, as long as I got enough money to buy a sandwich and pay my rent, I am pumped. So that's all I need.
Tell me about these two contracts. So you said that you've had two contracts with them. When was the timeline on that, and what fully happened there?
It's technically one contract. There was I guess in reality there were actually two contracts. It was the thing I signed way back when I was doing stuff with Dolph to do digital content with them. And I thought that was like the stepping stone to doing more. And then there was an actual contract for a tryout that a employee who was let go a couple of years ago sent it to me during like the COVID kind of like, release of a lot of people. They sent me the contract. They sent me the flight info, the hotel info, where I was going to stay. It was all set. I was like, oh my God, I'm going. And that contract in the picture of me I tweeted, that's it. I still have it sitting there. And then they canceled on me like a day or two before. And they're like, oh, actually, we're moving the tryout. It's going to be this other day. It's not happening. And then that guy ended up not working there shortly later. I was like, oh God, my contact is gone. So it's like, I know other people, but I don't want to keep asking my friends that are wrestlers there, like, hey, can you help me out? I don't want to be that annoying guy. I'm trying to take the right route and just get on someone's radar. Like, that's what happens. Like you're telling me Dylan Dennis, a guy who hasn't even boxed, he's famous for backing out of a KSI fight. He's now getting worked with them. How about the dude who's getting 4 million views on 5 million views today on ESPN for actually winning and doing the best boxing entrance in the universe? I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like, come on, Dylan Dennis is getting jobs here. Like, what is going on? So yeah, I do have a contract that they sent me, and I haven't got the tryout is the thing. I'm just still waiting for the tryout. So, and if they even remember me, I don't even know who's working there that knows me now. I do know some people, but I'm trying to hit up the right people, not badger the ones who aren't involved in this process, So anyway.
Can you just like?
Can you still hear me?
Oh, we hear you good.
Yeah.
Okay. The tow truck guy is now jumping my barrel.
Oh, this is great.
I'm on a call, but I'm right here if you need anything. Talking to my friends.
Fightful.com.
Thanks, dude. Should I turn the key off? Turn everything off? It's on the AC mode right now. Okay.
Yeah. No, everything's still coming through great. Yeah, we had no idea.
I'm driving back to LA tomorrow. I just go back from career clash. I'm in Portland where my coach lives. I trained with him for 3 months. I moved here just to train every day, twice a day for 3 months. So things are going a little haywire right before I drive home to Los Angeles.
Yeah, well,
so
yeah, this is great. I know you said going into the interview here that you might have the guy. I didn't know he was already there, so that's
he
funny.
Just showed up and he just started getting to work, and I was like, I figured I should say hello to him.
he's like, what's up with this jerk? He's just staring at his phone, watching me. That's funny.
Can you just show up to the performance center with the contract? But look, I got this contract. Like, someone validate this thing. Let me get to work here.
Well, I was thinking like maybe I should try to get some viral moment going on. Like I get into one of my characters, Keith or Dad, whoever. Keith, I feel, is the most appealing for them. He's basically the Ellsworth that is, in my opinion, as a wrestling fan, the better Ellsworth. I liked Ellsworth, but like that's who Vince saw. That's who a lot of people like and think is a good character for the world. He'd be a good valet, a good manager, a good bumbling oaf, but who can also do a backflip and take a bump and I can do some major moves as a former gymnast. So I feel I could do something like that where I show up you want me to turn it off or on? Okay. This is turning my car on for the dude.
No, this is perfect. No, we appreciate this. Yeah.
Nothing's happening. This is riveting interview.
No, this is great. This is the realness that people are looking for.
There it goes. All right, guys, we're about to get it going.
This is great.
Oh, it's on. Let me keep it running for a minute.
Yeah, so
wow. Okay. Okay. So I just keep it running with that your thing attached, or just let it run for on its own? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Sweet. Perfect. Cool. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
No, that's it. Thanks. Right. Let's hear for Eric, the tow truck guys.
Hey,
good job, man. Good job, man.
Big pop for Eric.
You too. Eric. Dude, Eric is over right now.
Yes. Eric, Creator Clash 3.
Yes. So now I can talk to you guys all day now. My phone is no longer going to be at 8%.
Okay, this is great.
And now I can turn the brightness up and see you. So
awesome.
I don't have to salvage every bit.
Jeremy, you have more follow-ups,
Thanks,
pro wrestling follow-ups, because I have like a ton of stuff I can ask about the actual event.
Say that one more time.
Well, I was just
I was
asking
gonna
Jeremy if you want to ask some more pro wrestling questions before we get into the actual Creator Clash event, because I got a ton of questions about that as well.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I was gonna add, or I was gonna let you continue of possibly showing up to the Performance Center and just you said you might just go there, try to create a viral moment out of that.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, should I do some stuff like that gets them some attention and publicity? Like that maybe becomes the storyline organically. Like this guy's been trying to get in here to WWE. He's 42. He's probably too old according to the the people who do the hiring. They want 22-year-olds, but like I want it more than any of them. I wonder if I should do something like that. I show up. I did post a picture on Twitter today where I did recently go to the Performance Center and I'm standing there going, I'm here. So maybe I do some sort of video where I just sleep there and let the police escort me away and just keep coming back and like do some viral thing, like an Andy Kaufman type bit where it's like, I don't harm anyone, cause too much trouble, but like show them like, I'm here. I'm doing this. So I don't know. That is an option. But I just don't want to rub people the wrong way and bother my way in there. I want to do it where it's entertaining and fun for people and it works. That's why I just wish I could talk to somebody. But like, there's no traditional way of going about it, I guess. So kind of I just got to go with what I got, I guess, and do what I think is right. So I don't know.
You mentioned signing a digital content tryout. Like, what was that supposed to entail? You said it was with Ziggler. What was that supposed to entail? Were you going to work on like the YouTube side of things?
Yeah, we had this like it was like a 3 to 5 video deal where it's like you will be paid this money to have a feud with Dolph Ziggler, because I started this feud on my own organically. I made a video as my Keith Abacari character calling out Dolph, saying he had a bad attitude, he was a jackass. I just did it for fun as a video for myself, and then he liked it and thought it was funny. So he had a show at the time called the WWE Download that was a YouTube show, and WWE was like, "Oh, this is funny, yeah. Let's work in a little storyline with you." So every episode he would do, he'd review like fail videos, make commentary on them, and he had a little storyline going during them where he goes, "Oh, and just Keith Abacari, the fan out there who thinks he's like number one, he started trash talking me." And I was like, "Oh, it's on." So we had a back and forth video series where Keith would then talk trash about him. I made this victory dance video where I was like, "This is the dance I'm going to do when I destroy you." And then I got like millions of views. It was me dancing around in my wrestling gear, which is tighty whities. And he basically went back and forth for a while, and WWE was like super into it. So after that organic little feud we created, they were like, "All right, let's pay you a little bit to also promote these new action figures we have, and you guys can have a little feud." But the thing is, it never completed. We never did this final little ending bit where we're supposed to get in a ring and we can't make physical contact because since I wasn't hired as a wrestler, he can't touch me. So I had this whole plan of like how we could do a match where basically Keith just defeats himself on accident and we don't, we can have a conclusion. Never had that conclusion. So maybe it's for the better, because now if I get hired, we can finally get in the ring. I don't know, was it 10 or 11 years later? So that was a contract for just making content was the contract. It's not, that was it. It wasn't to like be a performer for them. So gotcha. I guess it's a stretch when I say 2 contracts. There's really been one contract they sent me to, and it wasn't to be hired. It was basically a contract to be like, we're going to have you come here to try out, So I guess it's a bit of clickbait when I say I got the contract, but it sounded good in the ring because I literally have WWE paperwork that I signed. So it's like, I'm not lying. I had the open invite and it just hasn't happened yet.
Speaking of the digital content stuff, like it actually broke today through Fightful Select right here that WWE and Twitch have like a deal with the talent again to where they can, like the wrestlers can go back on Twitch now and stuff. So like kind of perfect timing that we're even talking about this right now.
Yeah. I just heard about that. That's great. I think that's awesome. I always thought that was kind of weird. I mean, I sort of understand. I do see why they did that, but it's you can make the comparison and say like that people doing that is like telling, Tom Cruise, "Oh, you can't go and stream because HBO won't let you." It's like when he leaves the studio, he can go stream if he wants. They're not gonna say no. We own you. You're undercut. You can't do another movie with another studio, but a stream is not a movie. You know what I mean? Like right. In the time you're working on this, you're under our contract. But I guess the thing is, WWE, you're always under their contract forever because the movie never ends. It's weekly. But I feel it should be when you're in the arena on set, like an actor in a studio or, you know, on a set somewhere. You're under contract for that moment. You can go home and do whatever you want after your clock out. But I guess that's what it's turning into now. So it's all working out.
Yeah. All right. Moving to Creator Clash, still sort of a wrestling question because we're going to start right off the top with Creator Clash. That entrance, that had to be an homage to the Ultimate Warrior, and then the tumble into the ring. Walk us through or run us through that whole entrance there.
So it wasn't rehearsed. I didn't rehearse it because I didn't want to tell them what I was going to do to dive into the ring. They knew I was going to run to the ring. And yes, it was definitely Ultimate Warrior, one of my favorites. I've always thought, how awesome would it be for a boxer to charge in there, be like, come on, let's go. Just high energy. If you saw my entrance last year, Creator Clash 1, it was just big energy, big dancing, and people were like, oh my God, he's going so hard. He's exerting so much energy. But I have lots of cardio, and I knew it wouldn't be a problem, especially with my opponent coming out after I get a moment to breathe and chill out and be ready to go again. So I've danced for 12 hours nonstop in December on YouTube. I just kept dancing for 12 hours and didn't stop moving. And I danced pretty hard too. It's not just like moving my hands. I like to go all out and prove to people like I will go to psychotic levels and do crazy things for entertainment. So running to the boxing ring, it wasn't a big deal. So when I ran and I dove over the ropes, I didn't know how I was going to get in until I hit the stairs. I was like, well, guess I'm running. Guess I'm diving because I'm moving too fast. And I had to just dive. As I dove, I was like, I thought a lot happened in my head when I dove. I was like, okay, I can just do I could just go into a somersault and tuck and roll. But I thought I might injure myself. I don't want to screw this up. So I grabbed the ropes to make it a little safer. And then that twisted up my glove into the ropes, which got it stuck, and I had to like yank it out. But I wasn't bummed about it. I didn't care. It was a blunder, but it didn't matter. Every boxer backstage, because they know I do physical comedy, I'm always like falling downstairs in my videos and doing like physical bits. They're like, "Oh, was that on purpose?" And I was like, "No, it wasn't on purpose. I was supposed to look cool. I wasn't trying to be funny in this entrance, but it was kind of it worked in my, you know, it's my type of thing." So I was totally fine with it. It also just added chaos. You know, it was like, oh my God, this is wild. This dude's just throwing himself, and now he's going to box. And the boxing was just as intense. So yeah, it worked out. But my friend Big Bob, my other friend is 6'7". He's taller than Harley. He walks out with me every year. He tore his Achilles recently. Oh, and actually he like snapped it, I think. He's like, I'm not running. I can't run. The idea was going to be like the whole group runs. But then John had a match later. I didn't want to make John run and burn him out or anything. And my coach, he's super cool and a super like legit boxing dude. He's like real cool. He's the only one that like bolted right behind me, jumped in the ring, and he was like going crazy. So I was like, all right, then John got in there and he started jumping around, and Big Bob had to like hang outside to not hurt his leg. But anyway, yeah, I had the gang there again and caused some chaos before the match, and it worked out. A little wild, but it worked out.
You know, but before you even ran out there, and this is something that I think is interesting about like the Creator Clash and kind of like the pacing of the shows and the presentation of the show, because I think it's really well done how like they produce it where there's not downtime. Like you go from fight to fight, there might be a litlittle video package in between. You get an interview from everyone like before you run out there, and that's kind of what I wanted to ask about is kind of what that's like, because they have like S-Fan and Amaranth back there like right before you're gonna do this fight, this very like, you know, legitimate boxing fight. Like this is a serious thing, but I think it's really interesting and kind of a testament to y'all as just like performers, like YouTuber performers, how so many of y'all stay like in that character, or even if you don't have a character like Dad, even like I'm blanking on her name, the girl who winked at the camera in between rounds on the bench and on the stool and stuff. Like there's everyone's always playing to the crowd because they know like their YouTube audience is there and that's who supports them. So can you speak to that at all? Because that's something different about most events where like the whole thing is this show for your fans, and you never really I feel like you always have that in mind when you're out there in front of that crowd. Like, even when you're not fighting, you're like, I still got to be, for instance, you're doing the interview right before you're out there and you're talking about your quantum fists. Like, you're still being dad, you know? So if you can just kind of elaborate on that.
Yeah, well, for me specifically, I'm the hardest character. I'm the only one that does acts and does character work. Everyone else is pretty much themselves. They do like live streams or cooking shows or open Pokemon cards. They're usually themselves, but they have a screen name, which sort of sounds like a character. But I'm a robot man who comes from the 22nd dimension. He has quantum fists because he has quantum energy. There's all this whole lore behind Dad. So I'm pretty extreme in that case. So I'm always like, yes, I'm Dad, but I will destroy. So it's like hard character. So I feel like I'm the closest to the pro wrestling world. And then Harley is probably a close second in character because he always does a really good entrance. He like looks like a character. He's always sort of like talking. He's got such good promos. So Harley and I, and we've talked, I've known Harley for 15 years. We both want to segue into wrestling. So we keep talking like I'd wrestled against, sorry, I'm getting off track here, but like Harley and I feel like should go into wrestling and do something with John and like Joey Janela or something, like we tag team against. So 2 wrestlers versus 2 YouTubers. And we just do a couple little spots here and there and spice things up. But during the show, you're right. A lot of these YouTubers, it is very much like a WWE show or a pro wrestling show in the fact that everyone has some sort of a character. Everyone's colorful. The pageantry, the production, everyone's a character, even the hosts. It looks like pro wrestling, but the only thing difference is I start punching each other for real, and it's sloppy and chaotic, and it's not this like choreographed, graceful, match. But everything else before and after is pro wrestling, and I look at Creator Clash of all YouTube boxing as the WWE of YouTube influencer boxing. And then these other ones like Misfits is more like UFC because they're more like not trying to be, some of them are pretty close to legit boxers, but the image, this is all my opinion and how I sort of view it. They're more like, like less colorful and bright colors and less silly characters and more just like they're actually trash talking and getting actual fights backstage and their press conferences. There's a lot of like more intense language there. Critical Clash is pretty brand safe and friendly, and it also spans all over the internet. Like the vast types of characters and creators in Critical Clash is so big. Like in pro wrestling, you have such a wide variety of characters, and a lot of the other ones are sort of like more from the same world. So I look at Critical Clash as a really natural segue to the WWE world or like AEW kind of world. But I get real into character, and I agree with what you're saying. It's I think wrestling audiences can into it. A lot of the fans who watch me are huge wrestling fans because of what I do is very wrestling related and wrestling adjacent, so they all enjoy the Creator Clash, as I've heard that a lot from them. So that's why I got in my head, I'm like, this is just natural for me to call out Seth Rollins and the entire company of WWE after my match. Like, where else am I going to go from here? I don't want to box forever. I want to wrestle, and I want a job to perform and act, so let's do it.
I'm glad he brought up Harley too, because like his entrance was awesome. And like, I've seen him live front row. I think he was at Elimination Chamber live because that was in Canada. And I know he's Canadian. So I think that's where I'd seen him recently, like front row and stuff. And he's a big dude too. Who also, I'm going to give him credit right now. I know we talked to John and you before the fight, and I had said that I thought Harley was in for a pretty rough night just because like John Morrison is just such a super athlete, and he's basically a combat athlete already going into this. And he is, I know he's a martial artist and stuff. And it's just, and so Harley to even take that fight, he has a lot of balls to even do that. And I thought he really held his own in there for like as long as it went. So like he really, Harley deserves a lot of credit. I mean, Morrison, obviously all the credit in the world for the performance, but like Harley had some big balls for taking that fight.
Totally. And Harley is a natural performer, so that I don't think it even harmed him. He's so beloved in the Creator Clash world that it just taking that beating alone, and it deserves a round of applause, So he was right there in good spirits after, and he's like, how about we do a rematch in a wrestling ring now? So it was like a perfect little storyline. Next step is like, all right, now they wrestle and enter John's world because John entered his world. So maybe Harley would beat John in wrestling for a major upset just like this. Because a lot of people did think Harley was going to take it because one shot from him is like devastating. It's like hard to get in past long arms like that. I wasn't sure. I know John's cardio is psychotic, so I was like, he'll be able to, if he moves and he avoids Harley and he avoids those like major clubs, then maybe he'll be good. But I didn't expect John to dominate that much. It's like, wow, dude, you like really went all out. It was basically me versus Matt Watson last year. He made a 6'6" man look like 130-pound teenage boy. You know,
he knocked him through the ropes. I was worried when he went through the ropes and fell on the announce table. I was like, oh, he just got back up and he got knocked out a couple more times, but he got back up from that. I was like, bless this man. Like, he does not need to continue after this, but here he is.
Not at all. It was insane. I've never seen anything like that in pro boxing, YouTube boxing, and maybe even pro wrestling. It was wild. I mean, obviously we've seen it all in pro wrestling. So yeah. The only place we've seen that is in pro wrestling.
Well, I loved Harley's reaction right when he hit like the announce desk on the outside. His face, he was like,
yes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just what a great reaction. So yeah, massive shout out to Harley. You know, I think that was, and of course John. I think John would be really, really, really successful like in this space if he wants to continue doing it. There was some big standouts. Like I had seen Myth do the chess boxing before. He looks like a guy if he sticks with it, he's going to be a real problem for everybody.
Definitely.
So a lot of real talent on the show. iDubbbz, he's getting a lot better. He was way better since the last fight, and what a transformation he's made. So I mean, what a just great show, just all across the board for y'all. This super successful night. On top of that, all the money y'all raised, all the charity. If you want to speak to that a little bit, just like working with iDubbbz and Anissa and the whole event kind of in general and all the money you guys are raising doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a very heartwarming event to be a part of. It's awesome, especially in a world where like it's YouTube boxing and influencer boxing. I feel often people feel they need to be hard and tough and edgy and like look like, you know, these trash talking professional boxers. But like, no, why can't we just have fun and be nice to each other and be friends and do it for charity? And that's exactly what Critical Clash is. So it's an honor to be a part of it. They always raise it. They've raised like 1.3 million last year. I'm sure it's more this year. I don't know the numbers, but it's amazing. iDubbbz and Anissa are awesome people. They call you all the time. They're checking in on you. Like Anissa does everything. She's like always, she has so much going on, and they just had this idea. They're just like, you know, I wouldn't be able to do that. Like, I'd be like, that's too big of a thing for me. But it's like me just going, hey, what if I have a 20,000 seat arena with a bunch of like legendary YouTubers and people from across the internet punch each other? Companies behind it. It's like these people came together and did an amazing event from nothing. It's very impressive. And I think it's only going to grow. Only going to get bigger. I think Critical Clash could become legit like entity like WWE or something in that space, and even start working with other companies like professional wrestling organizations. So yeah, they're amazing. iDubbbz and Anissa, I love them forever. They're legends for dealing with the stress that they deal with, and Ian's then training like a psychopath, and then has to get beat up during all of this. Like, I bow down to them for that. They're awesome. So they deserve anything they get that comes to them afterwards, opportunity wise.
Sure. And you, by no means, you have to elaborate on this. I just wanted to bring it up because I know you said there's a lot of stress that they deal with going into these fights, a lot of dealing with it, running these events. It would be irresponsible for me not to bring this up because it was a big thing going into the fight. But the Froggy Fresh situation, I know you were dragged into that quite a bit. I'm very familiar with Sam Hyde. I'm very familiar with, but I'm an outsider looking in, and I'm trying to see both sides of all of it. I'll just say, I really wish none of that happened. I really wanted to see him compete on the card, and I really wish all that got taken care of, like behind the scenes, and it just got figured out, and it just got way too public. And it's just one of those things where, like, I know that so many people, yourself included, have said such nice things about Anissa and iDubbbz, and I feel like that's really important that it gets out there because there was also a lot of narrative that was the opposite, but it's also, you have to look at the whole picture of who's running the event, the background of the people running the event, and then that at the end of the day, like you're saying, Creator Clash is different than a lot of these, really any other combat sport type show because it's friends doing something for charity. It isn't about working with one another. So I don't know if you wanted to elaborate on that at all. You definitely don't have to, but it was something that was like a really big talking point going into the event.
Yeah. I don't even like talking about because it's icky and it's depressing and it's sad and it's like, it's just a shame. And I think he made mistakes and he didn't communicate and it just didn't work out. And it was also a thing where it's like, nope, sorry, dude, not even going down this road, not worth it for this big company. It's a good thing for good people. Sorry. It's not worth it for anyone involved, and all their people that have so much at stake to even entertain any of this after what had happened. And it's not as simple as people think. People said, "Oh, he just instantly was kicked out." That's not the case at all. Many times contact was made, did not respond. So they're like, "Well, sorry, we're not going to play this game here. We're done. Moving on." And it's like if some other giant company, UFC, like someone did this, they'd be gone. It's like you don't do that. This is a professional company with people working hard to do this who are grown adults. You're not messing around here. This is stupid. So, anyways,
sure.
I think it was unfortunate. I don't think he is a bad person, but I think he made a mistake and wasn't. Can you imagine? I can't imagine I would do something like that. Like I'd be like it was dumb and irresponsible and ignorant and like. It's a lesson I think maybe he needs to learn. But regarding the other people outside that have nothing to do with it, that are being like sort of trying to tear it down, like I have no comment on them, and I will never have anything. I will never be involved with people like that. I try to only associate with people who I think bring positivity to the world. So
that's totally fair. I appreciate any comment at all on that. And for what it's worth, I did see some of the detractors. I won't name names. I did see some of the detractors after the event, even giving the event credit, that were like, you know what? I said a lot of stuff going into it, but that was a fun event to watch. Like, you know, so, but it's one of those
can't deny
things.
what the event is. The event is amazing. It's run by professionals who are good people trying to do a good thing. And all the other people who just people are just trying to be mean. And it's just sad that people exist that still want to act like that. And like, you got to just ignore it and be like, hope they become better people and they find something that they love and have reason to exist, and positivity is spread sometime, somewhere when they'll grow up and get out of this phase of just trying to tear things down for no reason.
Last thing I'll say about it at all, and we'll move on, was another shout out to Harley, because he took some big bullets during that situation. He was speaking up a lot when like it was not the popular thing to be speaking up at the time, like, you know, on behalf of IWs and Anissa. So I just wanted to throw that out there too. So, and once again, I'm just a fan on the outside, but I'm like, I pay really close attention to this space. So like, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on as it's happening. I'm listening to all the Twitter spaces and stuff. And I'm like, some of this sounds wrong. What do I believe? And it's just one of those things where so I appreciate the comment and we can move on from there, but hell of an event. Awesome event. Event.
Knocked it out of the park again. There will be a third one. Apparently I saw a tweet today from Anissa, and I guess they're working on it soon after a little break. If they want me, I have plans that might surprise people for next year. So that's all I'll say. But originally I was like, I think I should take a year off, take a break, because I'm trying to film a movie. But I'm trying. I kind of want to work it in where I get that done before the next, because a year is good enough time for me to like get ready and start training again after I shoot this movie. Or if I get a new career in wrestling, maybe I can wrestle until leading up to it and get, save some cash with a nice wrestling paycheck. So I would like to be involved somehow. I think a third one would be a cool final one. Like I have a trilogy, and see if I can be undefeated in my boxing career. So
do you have any like potential names? I'm actually, we already know who you want to fight. If you want to elaborate on that, I was about to say like you set up your next fight right after this fight. So
I wanted to fight Nexpo last year for this year, but AB was already involved, and I think he only wanted to do one more if he did one. So it kind of made sense to like, all right, we're the same height and weight. We both fought once. No one saw what I did. They saw him go the distance with Hundar, guys who were bigger than me. So it made sense on paper. So I was like down for that. I was like, all right, cool, I'm down for that. But I still would love to fight Nexpo. And Nexpo was there. He was like down for the call out. We had talked about it, so he was like there, ready to get in my face. So that was fun. Nexpo was bigger than me. He was like 205. I'm 170 when I'm like fit. I could hit like 180, so we'd have to meet like 180, 185. So that might be a struggle. I think he's 2 inches taller than me. I'm 6 feet. He's like 6'2". So that would be an interesting one. Size versus a little bit of experience. I'm not amazing, but maybe it's enough of an advantage. But he did start training last year. He has done some training, so he's not completely, ignorant to it. So yeah, Nexpo would be good, but I don't know. There could be someone else that makes more sense, who's more ready, and I don't know. I'm open. Nothing is locked but that would be a storyline I think that would be interesting to his fans and my fans, because we do have some history between Dadbot and Nexpo, where there was his cult. He's in a cult group called the Dark Party, and they tried ruining Dadbot's life, and it was a pretty sketchy stuff, sketchy stuff going on in the facility in Town, USA. So I think maybe they need to settle it in the ring. It's almost too much lore to get into here, but it can be explained in some catch-up promos if this becomes a thing. We'll do some we'll put out some videos to explain it all. We'll see.
I need a big video package. That's
exactly.
Or something.
There'll be a lot leading up to it, just to get the deep lore out to the fans who don't really care and they just want to see us punch each other. But they'll figure it out eventually once we show it to them.
I mean, you mentioned Joey Janela, potential tag team match and stuff. He did comment on your victory. I don't know if you saw that. Yes.
Did he say it on Instagram or something? I missed it.
It was on Twitter.
Oh,
and
I haven't been using Twitter. I don't use it at all anymore, but I posted some stuff today and yesterday. I should go look. I'm so bad at looking at replies and all that. What did he say?
I'll tell you what he said. So, you called out Seth Rollins and you got the response of like, oh, who's this guy calling out Seth Rollins? And Joey Janela said, that's Dad. I beat his ass before. I might have to do it again. That was his comment.
All right, Joey. All right, Joey. I knocked the guy out with one hit. The dude is all talk. What's he talking about? Dude, I survived Stink Face from Rikishi. If I can survive Stink Face, I can survive little man Joey Janela. Give me a break. The dude got nothing on Dadbot. Come on, man. So he's down. If he's down, I'm down. I think it should be him and Harley versus me and John. GCW, anywhere, you name it, I'm there.
I love that. We gotta make.
I didn't know he said that. Thank you for telling me. I'm gonna start talking trash to him now.
Oh,
have
awesome.
you seen?
He threw me through a door. It was so disrespectful.
Have you seen the Rocky movies? Have you seen the Rocky movies? Because I think Janela will only. All right, well there you go. I would say I think he's only going to fight you if you've seen the Rocky movies.
I've seen them all. I watched Creed 3 recently. It was tight. I liked it. Even though Sylvester Stallone was on a part of it, I still enjoyed it.
This is such an easy headline. Such an easy headline of Dad responds to Joey Janela, says he's seen all the Rocky movies. Oh, it's gonna pop. It's gonna pop just Joey Janela.
One night I sat down and put all of them on different TVs at the same time and turned it up full blast and absorbed all movies at the exact same time. So
wow.
I'm overtrained.
Oh, hey, this is very important. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jerry.
Janela won't know what hit him if that's the case. Yeah, he's in for a world of hurt if that's the case.
Big time.
Oh my god! This just came to mind. I know you're in your car right now, but have you gotten any new portable gaming systems since last time we talked?
Yes, actually. During training, I bought myself a Sega Nomad, the original portable Sega Genesis. I've been using that because I didn't bring any systems with me when I came up. Well, actually, that's a lie. I brought my portable PlayStation 1 up here with me, but I was craving some Genesis, so it was actually my happy place. I was playing Tiny Toons on Sega Genesis.
It's a great game. I used to play that.
It is
super fun, right? It's one of my favorites. I bought it. There's a local video game store out here in Portland, Retro Game Trader. Shout out to them. They actually know they were fans of Keith Apicary, so I gotta give them props for knowing classic internet entertainment. But yeah, I bought a Sega Nomad. I've been playing that during training, and I'll head back home this week and be reunited with all my other portable systems. So yeah, what did you see before, the portable PlayStation or Dreamcast or something?
What was the last one we? The 64 thing was the last one we saw.
The 64. Yeah. Showing you guys things that no one cares about, but thank you for being interested.
Yeah, no, I had to ask. Like, you just reminded me. You just reminded me to ask you there. So that's
cool. Love those video games.
All right, last one from me. We'll get you out of here. We'll get you home. Get you to LA.
Oh, all good.
Who would win a hypothetical street fight between Eddie Kingston and Cody Rhodes?
We've been asking everyone lately, so like we got a tally going on this answer. Actual street fight, no rules.
I think Eddie.
Oh, thank God. Oh,
Okay.
whew.
That's a lot of
sweating there,
people.
Dad.
I don't think Cody is that like vicious
Yeah,
out
bury him.
of character.
Okay. Now let me flip this question.
He's a very emotional guy, although I'm very emotional and I'm pretty crazy. And I got bullied in high school, and that's probably why I'm so emotional. And it comes out in the ring. So maybe Cody, the thing is, you never know. You have a Michael Reeves like last year, Career Clash 1, so unassuming, becomes the Terminator. So I'll say Eddie Kingston, but I'll admit I might be completely wrong.
Yeah. Well, I'll flip this question a little bit.
Defend your boy. Stephen Jensen.
I'll respect the answer. I think I'm the only person, maybe one other person so far has chosen Cody that we've ever asked.
Tom talked rubbish, picked Cody because he used their actual wrestling match that they had.
Right, because he won an actual street fight in AEW, which is a good litmus test. I mean, he did defeat him. Now, my follow-up would be in Creator Clash 3, if it happened in a boxing ring, 10-ounce gloves, pro style, 4 rounds, the same kind of thing that we saw to Alex Wasabi and iDubbbz. Who wins that between Cody and Eddie?
Do either of them have any like actual combat training outside of pro wrestling?
Well, Cody was a 2-time state champion in high school wrestling. Eddie, I believe, has like jiu-jitsu training, but I don't think he's been like a formally like a competitor.
Eddie's from the streets. That's his training.
School hard.
The thing is, I think maybe still Eddie, because what my coach told me, I wrestled in high school, amateur wrestling, and I thrashed these dudes that were bigger than me. And I think the reason is, and that's why I think I'm all right now, is my coach told me there's 2 types of boxers. There's fighters and there's boxers. He goes, you are a fighter. A boxer is good and technical, but they don't have that sort of rage in them and like desire to just wreck things. I have that for whatever reason. Something like I'm still sad from the bullying or something. It's my only chance to let it out of it's my therapy when the bell rings. So maybe whoever has that, and if that's Eddie, then I give it to him. Kingston. Because my coach also said, he goes, you can't teach that to boxers, but you can teach people who are fighters to box. So
that's fair. That's fair. Very relatable, by the way, the being bullied. I have a lot of people that are watching this in the chat, like a lot of wrestling fans. We grew up like that. So, very, very relatable. Understandable.
The nerd.
A bunch of nerds. We're a bunch of nerds here. We embrace it. So yeah,
I do have one more actually.
I have a couple more
quickly.
too. So yeah.
All right, I'll take them all.
Josh Barnett was there. He trained Morrison. He helped out with you. Like, ever thought about doing like blood sport? I know that is a very serious thing, and I don't know if Barnett, but yeah, have you talked to Josh about that?
I have. I would be down if I didn't really get hurt, but I just want to be involved. I just want to be involved in all of it, So it depends, I guess, what my involvement is. I guess maybe. I guess, but yeah, Josh is amazing. It was cool for me to meet him. I trained with them once or twice before the fight. With Josh and John, and he was there like doing MMA and then training John at the same time. It was like an extra day John had, and we were just at his like this big gym with all these people who were like actually hurting each other, like wrestling and stuff. And it was wild. It's just people rolling around the ground everywhere, fighting. And then John and I were like in the corner, like punching each other, like softly. So yeah, that was cool to meet him and even be involved with that guy. He's like a legend. So I would do blood sport, but I don't want to like get actually hurt,
Sure. I could tell when Jeremy started asking the question, your face reaction, you could tell he was going to ask if you wanted to do MMA, and you were like, I don't know about that. And then it was blood sport.
Blood sport.
Yeah, blood sport is blood sport is a very hybrid MMA or hybrid MMA wrestling type thing. And I know you're big on like the character work and stuff. So I didn't know if it would fit Dad.
The MMA aspects I don't want to do, unless there's like one little spot that I think, someone hits me, like, and they really deliver it so I could sell it right. Fine. But, I don't want to do the MMA portion, but the pro wrestling, I'm down.
Yeah. Morrison's had a really good run in blood sport.
Yes.
He's been doing great there. So
that was another reason I brought it up, because he does very well in that environment.
Yeah.
I'm down. Couple more quick questions regarding Creator Clash. First one, this is pretty not a yes or no, but do you think iDubbbz will fight again? I know he announced afterwards that it sounded like he was going to stop, but And listen, I'd respect either way. I mean, I think just what he's accomplished in the 2 fights, and I followed his career pre all of this. I mean, just the physical transformation and the maturity, the development over time, just a completely different guy, it seems like. Totally. He's done so much work, and obviously could be cool to call, just have these 2 fights, but obviously there seems like there's a lot of demand. Also, Sabi really led a chant afterwards. What's your feeling? Do you think, I know there's going to be another creator clash, but do you think iDubbbz fights in that one as well?
I don't know. It's up to him. I really don't know, but like my guess, based on what I've seen as just an observer, someone who like sort of knows Ian now, I feel he will probably do another one. Even if he's not in the next one, the event happens, he's a part of it as a host, whatever, the MC of some kind, or however he wants to be involved. I think he would be involved in all of them. But I think I'm guessing it's like me, where it's like, do one more at some point. And it would be like fun to have like a comeback. It's like, a year later, we haven't seen him in a year. He gets back in the ring and then he ends, maybe, who knows? Maybe he'll want to keep doing it until he wins. But he's like me, I think, where it's like, it's fun to say you did it, but you don't want to do it forever,
Sure.
Because like, we're not inherently made to fight like this as people, the 2 of us specifically, not humans in general, but like he and I feel, I don't know though. I really don't know what he thinks. So I myself would think like, okay, 2 is good. I'm good now, honestly, but maybe I should do a 3rd one just to have like a cool trilogy done. And it was a nice chapter in my life. And I would keep it 16-ounce gloves for myself, because I don't want to get really messed up. Like, he gets messed up every year, like really battered, because of these 10-ounce gloves doing these pro fights. That's not for me. I feel like maybe if he did another one, I could see it being 14 or 16-ounce gloves to like save some damage, because almost not necessary. But Ian's a little crazy, maybe even crazier than me, because I don't think I would have done the pro fight, I'm an actor. I need to protect.
Sure. That's the moneymaker right there.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Last question I got. Is there anyone you haven't seen compete in influencer boxing, or even more specifically that you want to see in Creator Clash, like a YouTuber or an internet personality that we haven't seen compete, that you would not that you would want to fight, that you just want to see in there?
I feel, I think a lot of people think this, PewDiePie.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
He looks so good now physically. He's working out. He's like, his energy and his whole thing is like, it fits this whole brand, and like all of us, it's like the nerdy, goofy, humorous guys who were scrawny now getting fit. Like, it kind of just works. And he's mutual friends with like the Grumps and Jacksepticeye and all these.
He was in the iDubbbz Rice Gum diss track video. I'll never forget that.
He knows iDubbbz. Like, he's right there. So I feel like he would be great. I want to fight him because we're like the same size. Our body types will look the same, but I feel he's more of someone who would go up against iDubbbz. That's like main event status, and I don't think I'm that, unless I build my name up as dad. I make myself main event over the years, maybe. But I think someone like PewDiePie, Mr. Beast would be amazing. But I don't know if he had. I think there might be health reasons he couldn't do it. Airrack, a friend of mine is a guy named Airrack. Who
I know he is. Sure.
I think he and I shot a video like 2 weeks ago together. He is awesome. He'll go for anything. I sent him some messages yesterday about something wrestling related that I don't want to reveal to the internet just yet. But he, I think, would be good at Creator Clash. He's on his way to becoming the next Mr. Beast. So I think that would bring a lot of people to the event. It would be good for the event. Some of those guys, I think, would be good. Also, I think iJustine, she's an old-timer YouTuber like me who's pretty healthy, pretty fit. I don't know how I think she does like some sort of a wrestling or jujitsu as well. She's very physically active. I think iJustine would be a great person to add to, and I'd love to see how she could do. I think she would do pretty well. So those are some people, people from like way back, and just the big names,
Yeah, those are great shouts there. And for what it's worth, I've actually heard Mr. Beast himself say that he thinks Airrack could be the next him. Like, he was asked like kind of who possibly could be like a 100 million subscriber channel out there, and he named Airrack as a possibility. So there's some really good names. I'd like to see all of them compete. I would love if it was possible. The biggest fight ever would be if they could do Mr. Beast versus PewDiePie, the 2 guys with over 100 million subs.
100%. Exactly. They are the top of YouTube, that would be WrestleMania level.
Yeah.
You know, that would be it would break all of influencer boxing.
Oh, it'd be bigger than the Paul fights. Like, people don't understand like how
For
huge
sure.
something like that would be. Yeah,
for sure. And I think the place that it would happen would be Creator Clash, because those guys are already in that world. You know, it like PewDiePie's walkout would be so stupid and ridiculous. It would have to be a Creator Clash. So
I love it.
I
Awesome.
would have to see that. I hope to see that in my lifetime.
Yes. Well, hopefully he can make it happen. I know he's like retired and has been for years. He just kind of pops in and out. Like, he's getting in better shape. It'd be cool. It's really cool seeing Creator Clash as like an option for like people who have these big audiences that have these loyal audiences that have been around a long time, especially like on the internet. And regardless of where they're at, like view count wise or how many subscribers, like whatever, it just seems like a really good place to like just do something cool for your fans, make a lot of money, keep your name out there, and just like, I feel like it's a big career resurgence for a lot of people too. I just feel like so much good comes for everybody involved in this thing. So
totally,
yeah, absolutely. And thanks again, man, for, I mean, I know I said 1,000 times. I know we've talked for about an hour, so we'll let you go.
Okay.
You sat here and you had your car jumped in front of us, and I mean, we appreciate
I love it.
This
is the highlight of my day, so thank you.
Oh man, so
I appreciate you guys having me.
And I love having you on, because there's not a lot of people I can nerd out on that are in the YouTube influencer space like you are. For me, as like a fan, knowing what's going on in this world, so it's really cool getting insight from someone who's in there in the weeds, if you will, Jeremy. So yes,
for sure. Well, thank you again. I hope to be paying attention to your site and see myself more on there, because that means I'm now in the wrestling world, and I'm I want to be part of the dirt sheets. That's a dream of mine. So
I don't like the term dirt sheets. We report.
No, I know.
Even though
we
get accused of the clickbait.
I want to be a part of the talk, like what's going on in the world and in the universe. You know, there was one time there was a leaked document from WWE. It was a script, and Keith Apicary, my character name, it was dialogue between me and Keith. It was something that Dolph had to shoot backstage at SmackDown. They're like, oh, we got to pull Dolph at one point and have him shoot this Keith stuff. And it was a leaked document. My friend found it. He goes, look, you're a leaked WWE document. It was like an honor. So I mean to say, like, to hear you guys reporting on stuff, for me to be part of that is like, I'm there. I'm where I want to be. It's like, it's exciting for me.
Awesome.
So,
very cool. We appreciate that.
Yeah, we wish you luck on the journey. Continue to manifest. Continue speaking into existence. You know, like this interview, you're gonna get a bunch of articles out of it. I got a bunch of clickbait headlines that people will be mad about, but they'll get over it.
Yeah.
Dad, thank you again for joining us. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
Just search Dad on YouTube. It's the first thing that comes up when you search for Dad. I got it. So look for Dad. My name's Nathan, my real name, because I've been on there since like my channel was 2006. So I'm working both channels, but mostly the Dad thing's the big thing I'm pushing right now. So yeah, that's where you can find me, Nathan and Dad on YouTube.
There you go. Everybody check out Dad Feels on Twitter as well. But go to the YouTube pages. All of them are down below. There are links in the description down below. Dad, thank you again. 3-time guest on this show. We really appreciate it. And you're welcome back. You're welcome back anytime. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Guys, we will be right back here on. We are back. Thank you to Dad for joining us, as always, a 3-time guest here on this show. A great man, calling out WWE, calling out Seth Rollins. Everyone go support Dad. Go check out on Twitter. Go check out his YouTube channels. The links are below in the description. Go check those out. All right, everybody, that will do it for today here on the Spotlight. Everybody go enjoy your 420 like Stephen Jensen is going to do. Go be above the clouds with the great Stephen Jensen. We got Day After Dynamite, a different dad, at 3 p.m. Eastern today here on youtube.com/Fightful. Will Washington and a guest reviewing last night's Dynamite. Head over to Fightful Overbooked. A lot of great shows. Joel Pearl and I started in the weeds this week. That is a morning show Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 to 12 Eastern every single morning. We got guests from around the wrestling world. On Monday, we interviewed Deonna Purrazzo, fresh off her Knockouts Championship victory at Victor Billion. Deonna Purrazzo joined us on the show. We also had Matt Black from WrestleZone to discuss the AEW Collision deal, which he had details on over the weekend, and AEW Fight Forever, which Matt has been following very closely since the game was announced. This past Wednesday, we talked to Alex McCarthy, who is Drew McIntyre, number one fan, number one Drew McIntyre insider, even though he acknowledged Roman Reigns at Clash of the Castle, turning his back on Drew McIntyre. But Alex McCarthy had a lot of great insight into the current status of Drew McIntyre and WWE. And tomorrow we have another show. We're working on some guests for that show. We'll keep everybody updated on who could join us, who might join us for tomorrow's show on In the Weeds. Again, that is 10 to noon Eastern, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday on FightfulOverbooked.com. A plethora of other great shows over there, including Tag Talk, including Coexisting, New Japan Red Club, FMC Crew, myself, Share Delaware, SP3. We're working on something that'll hopefully take place a little bit later on today, and we will have details on that. Everybody can follow me on Twitter. Don't do that, actually. Follow Stephen Jensen on Twitter, @FightTalk_. Follow everybody else on Twitter. Do not follow me on Twitter. Thank you. Tune into the Spotlight next week. We will be back. I don't want to announce our guest, but we currently have someone on the schedule. He is an independent wrestler. He's doing big things. He's appeared on AEW Dark, AEW. I think he was on AEW Rampage as well, actually. So there's a hint for everybody. He's at least been on Dark. So everyone can tune in next week to the Spotlight, 9:30 a.m. Eastern here on youtube.com/Fightful. We'll be back next week. Everybody, go be above the clouds, above the trees, above in life with Stephen Jensen on 420. Bye, everyone.